explain the branching strategy which you use in your product? You are using Git, right?
Yes, I am using Git only.
Okay. So can you briefly describe how many branches you have? So how it is?
Yeah, for currently we are using two branches. One is a developing branch, another one is master branch. Okay. So for this development branch, all the developers are connecting. Okay. And they are converting the code into the branch. Okay. So as soon as the developer commits the code into the develop branch. Okay. The Jenkins is automatically triggering and it's doing the build. First it will run the JUnit test cases. Okay.
So one second, I have a question there. So how Jenkins will come to know that developers did the commit?
Yes, we have configured that Webhooks and Paul SVM. Okay. As soon as the developer commits, it automatically triggers that one.
Okay.
And as soon as the developer commits, it will trigger and it will first run the JUnit test cases. Okay. As soon as the developer commits the code, run the along with the code, he will commit the JUnit test cases as well. Okay. So once the JUnit test case is done, after that, if it is passes, then it will do the build. Okay. Using for I have supported for Ant projects and Maven projects.
So one second. So in your case, unit test cases are executed first before the build.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Okay.
So if the JUnit test cases is run successfully, then we will do the build. Okay. For Ant projects, they are using build.xml default, and for Maven, they are using form.xml.
Okay.
So based on the build technology they were writing, based on that they will configure and it will automatically trigger the build and it will create the ERR or WAR file, whatever that. Suppose if it is they created ER, automatically it will create the ER file. In the form.xml, if they mention packaging as that ER,
that's fine. I'll get into that later.
Okay.
So you told something like they will configure. So who will configure? I missed that part.
Dev.
Okay. So okay. As a developer, I will commit the code. So
yes.
For each commit, after a new build is scheduled.
Yes. Correct.
For each commit.
For each commit, for one project we have configured based on our client requirement. So each commit is deploying into the dev environment only. Okay. For other project, as per their requirement, we have nightly build like scheduled builds. Okay. Every day around 7 o'clock we are doing the build, integrating all the developers code, and we are building. We are building and we are deploying into the dev environment. Like based on client requirement, just we have doing like that for one project.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So, can you give more details about how that call or the trigger happens in Jenkins when the commit happens? Can you explain that?
Yes, sure. See, we while creating the job, we have on the pool SVM. Okay, we have for that one we have mentioned every 1 minute. Okay. So what it will do, every 1 minute Jenkins will checks, keep on checks whether any update there in the GitHub or not. If any update is there, automatically it will get that one and it will do the build. Okay.
Cool. So got it. That's enough. Thanks. Actually, is there any? So this is from Jenkins. You are calling Git.
Yes.
So is there any other way from Git?
Yes, Git also there. Hooks and services one option is there in the Git. Okay, in the settings, if you go there, if you will see that hooks and services, there you can select which service, whether you want to, if any commit, what you have to, which service you have to trigger. There you can select Jenkins. Like that, there you can
Okay.
have to provide the Jenkins service, and that whatever the URL, the Jenkins URL, right? Whether it is some hostname.com/Jenkins,
Okay.
that URL has to provide. So then automatically the from GitHub it will
So what
trigger.
about the authentication?
Sorry.
What about the authentication? Jenkins will be having some username password, right?
Yes, yes.
So if I simply call the URL, will it trigger?
No, no, no. For that one purpose, we are doing two types of authentications. Okay, you can
Okay.
use the this personal access token, or you can go for this SSH key gen. Just you can generate one public key and put it into the in GitHub, just like that. SSH keys. Okay, go there and you can
Okay.
generate and you can put it like that. You can go with two ways. That time it will
Cool.
not ask the password.
Okay. So suppose Dev finishes the work in Dev branch.
Okay.
So it has to be merged down, right? So
Yes,
how it can
that's
be?
what I will explain you now my deployment strategy. So we have
Okay.
two branches, right? I told you
Yeah.
one branch
Yeah.
develop branch, another one is master branch. So as soon as
Mhm.
the developer commits, automatically it's deploying into the development branch, and we have
Yeah.
configured the sonar cube and all these things and all going. Okay,
Okay.
once the development is done, it's working fine, and the developer will say, okay, it's working fine. So we will
Mhm.
merge that one development branch with the master branch. So
Yeah.
we configured master branch with the pre-prod environment or staging environment, we call it as. Right now we are following only the three environments. One is a development branch, another one is pre-prod, another one is production. Okay. So
Okay.
for development we have using the development branch. For
Got.
staging or pre-prod we are using the master branch. Okay.
Okay.
Once we will configure this one, we'll click on build now. Automatically it will deploy into the products, this pre-prod. Okay. So
Okay.
we are using the IBM cloud. Okay. For a
Okay.
deployment and all. So once the UAT or we are using only the three environment current project. Okay. So as soon as the UAT and the QA done, okay, they will give the sign off.
Mhm.
So we'll go to
Okay.
the urban code deploy and we'll select the whatever the version we have deployed already in the staging or pre-prod with the same ER or WAR file. We will select
Mhm.
and we will deploy into the production environment. We are not maintaining any branch for separate in the GitHub for production, because whatever the branch master branch is there, right? Same code
Mhm.
we have deployed into the staging environment, that is called as pre-prod. Okay, so
So
same.
one question is, okay, I have one question. So you have told developer will finish this thing and you will click build now. So the build is happening out of dev branch, right?
No, development branch automatically. As soon as the developer commits, it's deploying to the development branch. For a pre-prod, okay,
So
we
why
are
I'm asking, why,
developer is DevOps engineer is merging from a development branch to the master branch.
yeah, so I want to know the steps, Git steps.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in two ways we can do. One is going there in the UI, okay, GitHub. Just you
Mhm.
can match whatever the source and whatever the target. There you can select develop branch and right side master branch, and you can click on merge. Automatically it will do. If any conflicts are there, it will not
Mhm.
able to merge automatically. We have to go
Okay.
ahead and we have to do merge that one. Okay. So if the conflicts are not there, automatically it will merge. So
Okay.
like that we are doing. Or in Git commands also there. Okay. You can first I want you have to log in into the GitHub and checked out into the master branch. Then git merge one command is there, and you can pass the
Mhm.
development branch. Automatically, whatever there in the development branch, it will merge into the master branch. If any,
Suppose, okay, got it. Till that point it's clear. So suppose there are hundreds of conflicts
okay,
because of some reason.
okay,
So how do you handle that? Hundreds of conflicts. If it is like one or two files, you could directly go open it and
okay,
resolve it.
yeah.
Is there a way
So
to
right
do
now
that?
it's using auto met strategy. Automatically, if any conflicts are there, it will not. If it is not there, it will automatically met just this one. So you are saying some conflicts are there. Okay.
Yes,
So
correct.
for that one, you have to I didn't get it that situation. Okay, one or two files we may get that one. Okay, because that's
Okay.
not much big project. Only six are there, five developers are there. I didn't get
Okay.
that much sense, but whatever we are doing right now, we are manually checking and we are committing the again.
Cool. Fine. Suppose uh, you are merging down from dev to master branch,
Yes,
and you know dev is having the latest, dev branch is having the latest
correct,
code.
correct.
So even if it is, even if there are some conflicts, dev should win. I mean, code from dev branch should win.
Yes.
So can we do some setting or can we do something there?
Sorry, I'm not getting. They will have the latest. Correct. We are
Dev have the latest, and during the merge down to master, there are some conflicts.
okay.
So the same scenario, but
Okay.
you as the DevOps engineer knows that dev branch is having the latest code, and irrespective of the conflict,
Okay.
the code from dev branch should override the master code.
Yes, correct.
Can we do something there to
Yeah.
override the?
See, if the developer says everything is working fine and we can move, definitely we can merge if we can override also. Because see,
Uh,
already because development is the latest code and they have done some.
I understand how to do that. Yeah, how to do that.
That's what one or two files were getting some conflict issues. Just manually we are overriding from master development to the master.
So you'll open and resolve the conflict and commit.
Yes, is correct.
Okay, cool. So, and who is maintaining the GitHub?
Who maintaining?
GitHub, right? The repository, right? GitHub.
Yes,
Remote
yes, we are
repository.
using GitHub, enterprise GitHub only. We are paying some money and we are using that one. Just we got that
Oh, you are
URL.
using enterprise.
Yes, yes, enterprise GitHub
So it
URL.
will take to back up everything or?
Yes, it will take because we are using enterprise GitHub, right? That enterprise GitHub team is taking care of all these backups and all. And
Oh,
anyway,
they are taking.
anyway we are doing this in the local developers also, right? Local in the developers their local machine. Everybody having their own local copy app in their local. So it is like a distributed kind of repository. That's why we are preferring this GitHub.
That's okay. I was just wondering. So if you want to write some hook script, right? You have mentioned about some hook scripts.
Hooks,
So how will you add that?
hook script.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about that, whatever you were asking, but I have configured like a Jenkins file for latest build now we are using. Instead of earlier we were using Freestyle and this Maven project, now we are using the
No,
pipeline
what I'm
project.
asking is, suppose after the commit,
Okay,
action,
okay.
I want to write a post commit hook script. Since this GitHub is maintained by this enterprise, you are using a licensed version. So
Yes, yes.
in their side, how will you add the hook script?
Yes, there also see they will provide the enterprise github.com that whatever the URL we want, they will give you, right? So like
Yeah.
sapien.com like that they will give. So there if you go there and you can create one organization. In that organization, we are creating the teams, and we in that organization we are creating the repositories. For that specific team, we are providing the adding the users, and for that specific team, we are providing the whatever the repositories we are providing the access. Like that, we are administrating that Git as well as.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay.
Okay. So, and so you have mentioned, so in your current project you are using Git, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
you have mentioned SPN also. Was that in the earlier project or current project?
Yes, yes. Maybe I didn't update that one. We are using Git only.
Okay, cool. So suppose I want to revert some check-ins.
Okay.
The check-ins are already pushed to the remote repository. How can I do that?
Yeah, for each commit we have that commit ID, right? We can take that commit ID and we can revert that code.
Can you explain that?
Exactly the command I forgot that one, but it is possible based on that version number. For each commit, the GitHub is maintaining one version for that. Okay, based on that one version, I forget that command. We can revert
That's
actually.
okay. No issues. And what is this rebasing in Git?
So rebasing, suppose it's like a merging concept only. Okay, we will use this rebase concept for merging.
Okay, fine. Mm. So coming to Maven.
Okay.
So what kind of product you are supporting? Is like an web app or EJB app?
Just now we are using normal web application only. We are not doing any like this enterprise applications. Okay.
Okay.
So just Java projects only.
Okay. And how many modules you have?
Right now only the 2-3 modules are there.
Okay.
Core
And
module and DO module, like that.
Okay.
Some 2-3 modules are there.
So how each module is generating one jar or how it is?
Actually, see, one is that core Java means like all the Java services, okay, and one other is web module, okay, another one is DO module. All these are like generating jar files, and in the here var file we are including that one. That's what for that one we are mentioning that parent modules in the pom.xml. See, in the packaging we will mention the POM. So it will go to the in the var module only. We are mentioning the packaging like var file. So automatically it will create the var file.
So how do you control the manifest file? See, this packaging needs a manifest, right?
Packaging manifest. So just you are mentioning for Java files.
Yeah, Java. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mention anything. So just in the packaging, just I'm putting that jar file or whatever it is POM. For only the web projects, I'm putting the var file. So automatically it's creating the var file.
Okay. Suppose if I want to change the path from the default directory structure which is there in Maven, how can I do that?
You mentioning about like repositories?
Yeah, no, in Maven project, right? It might be under your
Yes. Currently,
group.
see, actually in the Maven mainly worked on POM.xml, POM, project object model, right?
Yeah.
So by default, it will look into the suppose everything Maven is working on dependencies. Whatever in the POM.xml, the dependency section will put dependency like that. One dependency, like you can put a number of dependencies in the dependencies tag, right? So first it will look into dependencies, nothing but jar file or something, whatever that version, everything will maintain. Suppose if it is a Spring, some Spring core modules like web modules like that, we are putting. First it will look into your local repository. That is in your user home directory, and that.
I'm not asking that. Suppose what happens is when we give the packaging as jar, and you are calling MV and package or something.
Okay.
It will create the jar file.
By default it will put it into the target folder.
Yeah, that is correct. But it will look for the class files in some particular location. I mean, that is the default configuration.
Yes.
So if it needs to be looked on some other directories apart from the default classes directory, can we do that?
I'm not sure, but I didn't try it for maybe customized paths and all. But right now I'm doing for only the this dynamic default whatever there in that classes folder. There only all the dot class files will be. Definitely we can do maybe. I'm not sure about that. But this local repositories under by default it is there in the home directory .m2 folder. There it will create one repository folder.
So if I want to change that default location, now it is under M2 directory, right? If I want to change that, can I do that?
Yeah, definitely you can do. One in the settings.xml and the actual Maven home directory, one cons folder is there. In the different folders will be there, con folder, bin folder, like the lib folder, like that con folder also there. In that con folder, one configuration file is there, like XML file, that is called as settings.xml. In that, one tag is there, local repository. There you can go to and select, change that.
Enough.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. So you have mentioned about this artifactory repository, right?
Yes.
JFrog.
Yes, yes.
How that is configured?
Actually, we have configured it in two different stages. Okay. One is like in the job itself, in the Jenkins job itself, we have integrated JFrog Artifactory with Jenkins, and for each job we are configuring that JFrog. For other projects, we have put it into the settings.xml. Okay, automatically it's that dependencies getting from JFrog Artifactory instead of Maven remote repository, Maven centralized repository. See, actually in the Maven, three types of repositories there. First, it will check in
That's enough. That's okay. That's okay. I don't want to go into that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm asking some specific questions.
Okay.
So in JFrog, right?
Yes.
So you are building. Suppose you are building daily once or twice, and you are generating jar files. And how this JFrog manages these Devops and jar files or derived objects? How it manages that? How the versioning happens?
See, for each build in the Jenkins, we are maintaining one version. First, it starts from version 1, 2, 3, like that. With the same build version, whatever is there in the Jenkins, with the same version, it will put it into the even JFrog artifact also with the same version, with the build number, everything.
The build number or the version of the product?
Build number. Right now, it is putting into the build number.
So this is
if you go to in the JFrog Artifactory, if you go to the build option, build one option is there in the left side. If you click on there, you can select which project that build. Go there for select that build the project name, and there you can see different builds are there, numbers, whatever the Jenkins. Suppose it starts from 1, right? Same also in the JFrog Artifactory, it starts from 1.
Okay.
With that version number, we are saving into the JFrog Artifactory.
So what is a goal in Maven?
Sorry?
Goal. What do you mean by goal?
See, goal is nothing but one task. Like suppose if you, we have different types of goals. Suppose just if you don't select and if you can any goals and you just were setting, clicking and just triggering MVN, it will say you are not specified any goals. You have to specify one of the goal at least. Like MVN clean is one goal. What it will do? Just it will do the any previous build if you, any means that it will created any folders. Clean.
Is clean a goal?
Sorry?
Is clean a goal?
Okay.
Is it a goal or something else? Clean.
Yes, clean is one goal.
Okay, so can you explain the different life cycles?
Okay. See, in the Maven, we have 3 life cycles. One is default, one is clean, one is cycle. One is default. Okay. Another one is site. Okay. Suppose if you default is nothing but site is nothing but if you have any documentation. Okay. Suppose for each developer they will write some documentation comments. Okay. For that one you have to write.
Okay. I will ask specific question. Suppose I am calling Maven clean. Ambient space clean.
Yes.
So what happens in background? Do any plugin gets triggered?
No plugins. Just it will go ahead and cleans that whatever the target folder it will generate. For each build, it will create the one target folder, right? So it will delete that one. So if you use any like a site MVN site site, that time it will use the site plugin. Like that we have different plugins in the Maven also. Sonar plugin MVN sonar. It will generate the sonar documentation. That one.
One second. So you have mentioned sonar.
Yes.
So what is that first sonar before colon?
That one life cycle, one goal only.
So what is the second sonar after the colon?
I'm not sure that one.
Okay. So actually the first sonar is the plugin name and the second sonar is the goal of that plugin.
Okay, thank you. I really am not much aware of that one.
So that's okay, no issue.
Okay.
So suppose I have a submodule
Okay.
and you have a parent POM.
Okay.
So in the submodule POM.xml, how I will link to the parent POM?
That's what you have to put it in the parent palm, right? Parent is there. There you have to put whatever the name that module name you have to mention.
Just module?
Yes, module name you have to mention.
Anything else apart from that?
I think no.
We have to give the complete coordinates in coordinates of the parent tree. That's okay. Cool. We will move on to Jenkins. In Jenkins, what types of jobs you consider?
Yeah, I have mainly worked on like a pipeline. Previous I have worked on pipeline and Maven, and now I am working on this freestyle and Maven I have worked on earlier. Now I am working on pipeline and multi-branch pipeline. This multi-branch pipeline is very good option.
Okay, can you explain what?
Definitely I can. Okay. See, if you select first, I will go for all these one by one. If you select the pipeline, so you can configure for and jobs and projects, okay, and Maven as well as, okay. But whereas if you select only the Maven, only you can select, you can do for build for only the Maven projects. Okay. So that is the main difference between freestyle and the Maven. So apart from those are like old concept. Now we are using the pipeline. Okay, pipeline and multi-branch pipeline. In the pipeline, we are using the one file, build file, like everything will write in that Jenkins file, J capital letter, Jenkins file. There is no extension. Okay, there it will use the Ruby, this Groovy script and all. There will mention stages by stages. First, it will check out the code, then it will do the build. Then after that, we will mention the sonar cube. Like that, we are mentioning stages by stages. Okay, like that we are writing the Jenkins file. Okay, so
where this Jenkins file is loaded, where we load it?
Okay, so we have two options in the while Jenkins file also you can write those that is in the your project root directory. Okay, like wherever the build file is there, like pom.xml or build.xml, there it should be.
So it
otherwise,
is in the source.
Yes, source. It should be 100% in the repository. Otherwise, we can do other option also. Whatever there in the Jenkins file, you can put it into the while creating the job. You can put there also that Groovy script. You can do like two ways. It is not a mandatory. We have to maintain the Jenkins file. You can put it into the Jenkins job itself.
So Jenkins will parse this file and proceed accordingly.
Yes. According to whatever the stages you mentioned, the line by line, first line, second line, it will go like that, stages by stages. If any success, it will send a mail to the success mail also there.
So what kind of project is this?
Sorry?
I mean, what kind of option is this in Jenkins?
This is like pipeline you can select.
So pipeline should be the job type.
Yes, pipeline should be the type of that job. And multi-branch pipeline, it is very good option. Suppose we configure just for other project. See, suppose 5 developers are there. They have their own requirement. They are writing for their own branches they are using. Okay, developer like that. They are using their own names in the branch names in the GitHub repository. Okay. Instead they are writing their own independent code. Okay, each developer has their independent work. Just we have done some POCs and all about this one. Okay, first we will configure the GitHub repository URL in the Jenkins. What Jenkins will do? It will scan. It will index your repository. It will identify. Suppose five branches are there. What it will do? It will create automatically one job for each branch, and it will do that one. Suppose you have 100 branches are there in your GitHub repository. Automatically, it will index your repository and it will identify what are the branch names are there, and it will create with that branch name it will create the job with the branch name in the Jenkins. Automatically, it will create. We don't want to create manually. Just we have to give
it you configure one particular Git repository to the Jenkins job. So all the, some independent jobs will be,
Yes. Suppose
independent
yes, five branches are there in one repository. We can have n number of jobs, n number of branches in the repository, right? So five branches are there. For each job, each branch, it will create one job in the Jenkins. In that particular, whatever we have given the branch name
So
under that branch.
Branch by branch one job.
Yes, branch by branch one job it will create.
Okay.
Those are independent. Again, if you go ahead and change that, if you want, you can build only the particular job also, particular branch also, you can go ahead and click on that one. For that one also, we can create this pool SCM, hooks and services.
Okay. So that's fine. And since time is going, I will quickly ask you questions from Unix and shell script.
Yes, I worked on that shell script as well.
Okay. So the command you can use to copy from one machine to from host A to host B in Linux.
Okay.
Which command I can use?
See, we will use the SCP, secure copy. Okay. Suppose you have connected to the one of host A, suppose one Linux server. From there you have to connect to the other server. Okay. So that time you can use like that whatever the connected host A. From there you can SCP and the username, whatever the copy you want to copy, file name. Okay. Host first already you have logged into the host A, and there SCP whatever the file name you want to copy into the another host B, that file name, and username @host B, whatever the directory you want to copy in the host B, you can put that one. Automatically it will copy. Or you can do, that is the suggestible option. Or you can do, suppose I am very good in this WinSCP and all, just you can download into your local machine from host A, and you can from your local again you can connect to the host B and you can copy it. But that is not the suggestible option. Just you can go for SCP command.
Cool. And suppose I want to search for files ending with .log.
Okay.
How can I do that? Suppose the logs are present in temp directory.
Okay.
How can I do that?
Yeah, you can go for that find command is there. Find command. Okay. Find type F. F is means like a file. Okay. D means directory. Okay. Like that. Start the txt. Okay. Automatically it will get all text files with ends from .txt or .log.
Okay, got it. Okay, on top of that, if I want to delete all those log files, how can I do that?
Yes, exe, execute, okay, and delete. Okay, automatically it will delete.
Okay.
And even if you want, you can delete the empty files also. So just that find command, okay, and type, okay, empty and exe, delete. Automatically it will delete all the empty files and directories. Type, if you type mention D means it will delete all the directories. If F means files.
Okay. And suppose I want to I'm running a script in background.
Okay.
So let the script be error.sh.
Okay.
I want to know the process ID of that.
Yes, definitely. You can PS minus EF. Automatically it will give all the process IDs currently running.
But I want to get that job ID of that, the process ID of that particular script. Yes,
so that's what. If you type PS minus EF, it will give the process ID, what is the user.
There will be hundreds of jobs, thousands of jobs.
Okay.
Some thousands of processes. I want to get.
Okay, that time PS minus EF, okay, pipe symbol. Grip command you can use. Grip command, that is something, whatever the name. Suppose Jenkins also it will maintain one process ID. Okay, Tomcat also is for that type. PS minus EF, pipe symbol, grip. Suppose Tomcat, it will give particular it will searches. So PS minus F means it will give thousands of lines, whatever the process ID is, description, everything. In that I'm giving the output of that PS minus F giving to the input to the grep command. In that grep we can mention whatever that text.
Cool, that's fine. And if I want to kill that job?
Yes, you can see. First you can select that, find the first process ID. Okay, for each process we have one process ID. Okay, so take that one. Again we have one command, kill -9. Okay, that process ID you can pass. Okay, automatically it will kill that one.
What is that -9?
You are giving the signal signal for 9 means you are killing.
So if I don't give -9,
it will not delay. It will not kill.
It won't kill.
It won't kill. If -1, -2 like that, but 9 is for signaling. You are giving the signaling for killing.
Okay.
I forget about other options also.
That's okay. And what is the use of this command TEE?
TEE, right? TEE, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose we have one requirement. Suppose if you use ls command, just it will display the all in the console. And if you but I want to be in the one output will be in the one file. Suppose if you use ls, the redirect symbol greater than, and if you put it into that some log.txt, okay, but it will put in. But my requirement is in the console as well as, and the log file should be also, that output should be. That time you use T command.
Cool. And so you have mentioned about the greater than symbol. So what about the error redirection? How can I do that?
Okay, suppose if you use one greater than symbol, just it will it will override every time. If you use double greater than symbol, it will append that one.
And what about the errors?
Errors, see, suppose greater than 2, okay, and and symbol, okay, and symbol, and you can put 1, automatically it will take you to the errors.
No, I want these errors into a different file rather than the original file.
Yes, for that one you have to mention that greater than 1, okay, and you can give the error dot log file something, and output will be in other file. We can same output. We can segregate. One is go to the errors, and one if you have any errors, it will go to the error file. And if any output, successful output.
Why you want to keep 2 greater than 1? What does that mean? 2 greater than 1?
Sorry.
So you told you have to put 2 greater than 1 and log name.
Yes, and greater than 1 means it will, if any related to errors in that particular output, it will put it in the errors file. We have to mention that file name also. You have to pass.
That's okay. You should check that after the interview. That's okay. And so, how to check the command execution status from
command execution status means?
So, suppose I have okay, I'll ask it in another way. So I am in a shell script.
Okay.
I have issued a command.
Okay.
Say find command or some mkdir command.
Okay. Okay.
So the next part of the script or the logic should be something like if the directory creation failed.
Okay.
It should do something.
Okay. So if you use mkdir -v verbose, it will give that output verbose.
Okay.
So automatically whether it got created or we can able to check that one.
So how can I check the execution status of mkdir?
Execution status.
Yeah. Have you tried something like $?
Dollar?
Question mark.
I'm not sure. $0 and hash, $@ I know this one, but $? I'm not aware of, really sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So what is the use of this? What is this $0?
Dollar?
0.
Yeah, $0 means it will give the first argument. Like it's suppose I'm executing sh, one date.sh. Suppose I have written one shell script file, date.sh. It will give that file name, date.sh. It will give $0. One means, suppose I am passing along with that shell script, I am passing some arguments. One means it will give first argument. Suppose I want all the arguments. Count. Suppose I am passing 5 arguments. That time I want the count, how many arguments. That time $# if you have to use. Automatically it will give that one.
I have a question there.
Okay.
So suppose you don't know how many command line arguments are passed to the script.
Okay.
It might be 4 or 5.
Okay.
So if I want to print all the arguments which are passed to the script, how can I do that?
Yes, you can use the $*.
Okay. So
automatically, suppose you along with that script, you have passed 10 arguments. Argument should be given. You have to give each argument space. Otherwise, it will treat as one argument.
That's fine. So inside the script, how can I do that?
Sorry?
I have passed inside the script.
Okay.
If I am writing a shell script to print all the arguments which are passed to that.
Okay. So echo $. Okay. And you have to pass star. It will display all the whatever the arguments you have passed. It will display in the console.
So.
And one more question and one more thing we have done is like checking if condition. For one, we have done one shell script. Suppose for that one we have to pass 3 arguments. Suppose if the Devops is executing and he is not passing three arguments. Okay, that time we are giving the one message. You have to pass at least 3 arguments. Okay, for that one we are using if condition.
I have one question there.
Okay.
So echo $* may print all the command line arguments.
Yes.
But based on each value, suppose if I have, I will make it short. Suppose if I want to loop through all these values, how can I do that?
Yeah, you can go to the maybe for loop. Okay, you can get all this one. Okay, all these things you can loop.
How to write the for loop? That is
for loop. Okay, there open bracket and there you can add this $, star. Okay. First you have to take the size, that one. For that one $, okay, #, okay, greater than 3, you can proceed. Okay. Otherwise, you can come out to the that loop.
Okay, so okay, that's fine. But if I want to loop it, I want to print one by one.
Yes, that's what. Go to that loop. Okay, see, first we are passing that one $, greater than 3 means. Okay, if we were passing more than 3 arguments, it will go to the loop. It will display. Okay. Again, -1 $. Okay, that #-1. So it will that one minus, and it will go again. It will iterate the loop and until it reaches 0. Okay, greater than or 0, it will execute that one. Until that the condition satisfied, it's keep on executing that one. For loop is executing.
Cool. And how about this sed and awk? What is your knowledge on that? Sed and awk.
Which one?
SED and AWK.
Oh, stream editor, right?
Yeah.
See, VA editor, I will tell you that what VA editor you use it for just if you want to update any file, okay, delete something, we will use the VA editor. That is like directly you are editing your file, okay, physical file. But if you use SCD, stream editor, okay, but it will not update your file. Whatever the output it comes, right? Okay, that one you are working on the stream editor. You are not touching your the exact actual file. So I will give one example. Suppose in one script file.
Sorry, there is no option to touch the source file using sed.
Yeah, if you use SCD, we don't want to directly we don't want to update that actual file. Okay, whatever coming output on that stream, you can work on that one.
Okay, leave it. So set command to delete all empty lines from my file. Can I do that?
I didn't work on much SCD, but I have worked on like replacing some string with actual string like that. I have worked on, but deleting empty lines I
Cool.
didn't work
So
on.
just asked to know whether you have worked on like.
SCD slash in the single quote yes, okay. That space and whatever that string we have to replace, those things I have worked on. But we can do empty even you can delete the empty lines in that file as well as.
Okay. Cool. And how about awk? Did you try awk
AWK?
before? Yeah.
No, I didn't work on that one.
Cool, not a problem. Just wanted to know. That's
Okay.
why I'm asking.
Okay, I didn't work then. Whatever I know, I'm telling as a fact.
That's right. That's right.
Frankly. Mainly, I worked on this top command. Suppose sometimes the developer says application is not performing well. I will check. I will execute that top command. It will give all that process IDs and how much of each process, which user that process is running. Okay, and how much of CPU utilization, how much of memory utilization. Based on that, suppose if only one process is having more than 80, then we will contact to what is the job of that one, whether it is a Java application, and we will contact to that user and we'll do that monitoring commands and all. I'm very good.
Cool. Got it. And final question. And you have mentioned about this Ansible.
Yes,
So
Ansible.
the question is how you are using Ansible. Like so.
For deployment purpose, we have used that one, and some this upgrading. Suppose any packages are suppose we are maintaining 5 to 6 servers. In each server, suppose one software we have to upgrade. For that one, we have written all the playbooks. All these servers, Ansible server, Ansible nodes. This will work mainly on passwordless communication. Like we will create that SSH. All these are Ansible is working on SSH connection mechanism. For that one, you have to first create the passwordless mechanism. How will that using SSH keygen? Just you can generate the one key and you can copy into the Ansible server automatically without passwordless SSH. That user at the rate that the node name if you put automatically it will connect. Sorry.
Real-time case in your project. That was what I was asking.
Okay. So we are using 2 ways, mainly for configuring this if any upgradation packages, okay, and for deployment purpose also we are using this one. For suppose in a node one Tomcat server is there, okay, from Jenkins we will take that WAR file and we are putting it. For that one we are see in the Tomcat we are using. So Tomcat just we have to in the web apps folder, just you have to copy that one. Okay, for that thing we are writing in the playbooks using that YAML format.
So how that linking happens between Ansible and Jenkins?
Oh, that one you can see in the Ansible and my Jenkins are in the same environment. Okay. Okay. As soon as that it will that WAR file is done, okay, it will take that one. Okay, that's what we are writing in the Jenkins file. Okay, in the Jenkins that is one stage. Okay, once that build is done, automatically we are doing this one more stages like Ansible. You can give any name for stages. Okay, automatically it in the workspace. Okay, it will take that one and it will copy into the Tomcat directory. Web apps folder.
Other nodes. Okay. Cool. Thanks, man. It's almost
sorry. May I know your name? I forgot.
Gokul.
Sorry?
Gokul.
Gokul. Okay, Gokul. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. And may I know, I have one more question. May I know what profile you are looking and what is the main requirement?
See, here what happens is, here build team is very big.
Okay.
I mean, build and release team, so it is divided into different pillars.
Okay. Build and release and deployment team, you are differentiating? Or?
So build is a separate team, deployment is a separate team,
okay.
Is separate team, everything is separate team because we are supporting 1,000 developers and 200 QA engineers.
Okay.
It's a huge project. So here we will be mainly working on deployment part. On this environment, we have some 50, 60 environments.
Okay.
Then we have scripting extensively for
tools. Okay. So are you
Content
looking
editing.
any specific tools and technologies? Yeah.
Basically, what happens is here we have mostly in-house tools, which
Okay.
Oracle develops.
Okay.
So, but that is on top of this Maven, Git, all these
Yeah,
things.
even
So this is like,
any tools you are developing, but will take the base on that.
yeah,
Even suppose if you IBM takes a RAD or one is tool is there, they have developed on that Eclipse only. Like that,
yeah,
my
that's it.
colleagues, yeah, those are like even
So
Jenkins
that's
also.
it.
See, cloud-based Jenkins is there. That is enterprise edition, but they have
Yeah.
developed on top of this Jenkins community edition only. Okay.
So what we have is we have Hudson configured here. Jenkins and
Oh,
Hudson is
Hudson. Okay, yeah,
configured.
Hudson and Jenkins are same family only. They divided like they are brothers
Yeah,
only.
yeah, that's one thing. And Maven part, we won't be. Actually, we are using Ant here,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
Maven
Ant
also.
also I'm very good in. But nowadays everybody using mostly on Maven.
And the AND code is almost completely written years back, so
Okay.
it is in maintenance mode.
Okay.
And mostly in AND, they have written a lot of libraries, extra
Okay.
libraries,
Okay.
contrib libraries,
Okay.
and we are calling those libraries. So
Okay.
it's kind of an extended version of AND.
Okay.
Apart from default AND
Oh.
operations,
Okay.
it is kind of extended version because the build is so huge. It
Okay.
takes 7 8 hours to complete.
Oh, okay. Very
So
good.
it's a huge build system. So they
Uh,
have a build team also, 10-member build team just to
okay.
write these libraries. So we will be just using these libraries and call these things.
Oh, okay. Good.
So that's how. Then deployment, scripting, then this code quality,
Okay. Yeah,
and
we
we
are
have
using
even,
Sonar Cube quality
yeah.
manager. We are using.
So we have different setups. So since release team itself is a huge team,
Oh,
so
okay.
internally we are using Jenkins and Git to manage our tools.
Okay. Okay.
And developers, it's another section.
Hmm.
They have another tool similar to ClearCase. It is
Okay.
called AD here.
Oh, okay.
But it is in-house product of Oracle, but it's on top of all ClearCase version.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
And
Good.
we are maintaining that also.
Okay.
So
Good.
it's kind of a mixed environment.
Okay.
So that is what happens here.
Okay, good.
And we
Good.
are not using Docker here.
Okay.
Docker
Yeah, I
or
have
Docker
good
Hub.
knowledge on Docker as well as.
But we won't be using here because environment is created in a complex way. So they
Okay.
have another team for that. It's like another 30-40 member team.
Okay.
So internally they are using Docker,
Okay.
but it's like on top of Docker they have a wrapper. So
Okay.
there
So
are a lot of different.
all tools are like customized by Oracle. Their own.
Yes, they are extensively customized.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one.
If you know that base tool, definitely it is
Yeah,
easy
yeah, that's
to
right.
adapt for
That's right.
whatever that
Yeah.
customized tool, right?
That's right. That is why I was asking questions from all these things.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it's like customized thing, so you cannot find anyone who knows about that outside Oracle.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
we
Yeah.
customize
Once we'll go
basic.
into the organization, definitely we'll learn all these things based on that base
That,
technology.
that's right.
Okay.
So your notice is 30 days, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Gokul.
Okay. And I will give feedback to my senior manager. So,
Okay.
so we are doing a lot of interviews. So what he decided is we will shortlist
Okay.
candidates after a week or so.
Okay.
So probably next round happening January.
January.
After the, yeah, because next week it is shutdown. So
Yes. Yes.
after,
Yes. Actually, that Christmas vacation. Even we are going
yeah,
5 days.
yeah. But after shutdown, probably in January we will call you for on face-to-face round.
Okay.
So it depends on my experience.
Okay.
So I'll give the feedback.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks,
Gokul. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your time. Really,
Ashish.
it's a positive. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Am I speaking to Saida Reddy? I'm Gogol from Oracle. So we have an interview schedule, right?
Yes.
Telephonic.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
In a directory, okay,
Okay.
in a Linux directory, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have a list of files.
Okay.
So I want to know the list of files. Could you please write a comment for me?
So list of files means display just names.
Mm-hmm.
So ls-l you can display.
Execute that command. Sorry?
Please write that command in chart window.
You want me to type?
Yeah, in your chart window.
Okay, just ls-l. That is the command.
Mm-hmm. You're able to see the chart window?
Yes. I'm typing. It is actually some.
Yeah. So it will show all the list of files?
Not only the files, everything it will display.
Mm-hmm. So I want to know the list of files including hidden files.
Including hidden files. So ls-al. A means it will display all the files, hidden files.
Mm-hmm. And then what is ls-l? What will show?
ls-l it will display only the files, but it will not display the hidden files.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So like I have like one folder called sample.txt in the directory.
Okay.
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 So I want to zip that file. Okay. After the zip that file, like I want to delete the sample.txt file.
Okay.
How will you like? Would you please write a comment for that one?
Okay. For that one, zip-9 r.
So could you please write a comment for that one?
Okay, I'm typing. You want me to type in here?
Yes.
Okay. Zip-r9 the sample.txt. Then give that whatever the zip file name. Like that you can write. Okay. Can you see?
Yeah. So could you please unzip that file? So like zip r9 sample.txt. So after that, like the file will be removed?
Yeah, file will remove. If you use -9, it will remove. File also will remove.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So like could you please unzip that file?
For unzip command, unzip the sample.zip just. Okay.
Unzip sample.txt. Okay. So could you please explain about SSH?
So SSH is a command. Okay. If you want to connect to any of the server, okay, Linux server, we'll use SSH command. Secure shell. SSH username @ that server host name or IP address you can give. Immediately it will ask that particular user password. Just if you execute that one, if you type that password, automatically it will connect to that server.
So can I use SSH like without the password to connect SSH server?
Yes. That time for that one, what you have to do, you have to generate a SSH key and you have to copy into that particular server. So for that one, you have to use the SSH-keygen command. First generate that SSH key, then copy that one into that server. How we will copy? SSH-copy ID, okay, username @ server host name. So first time it will ask the password. Once we execute that command, it will ask the password of that user. Once we enter the password successfully, it will copy into that. Into that that particular server, it will create one file called authorized_keys. So in that particular server, it will copy. So that next time onwards, just you can use SSH username @ server IP address or host name.
I'm not able to see you.
So here some new, I don't know, today weekend in broadband net is very less. The broadband bandwidth is, that's why even maybe problem with morning it was working fine. Can you see now?
I'm able to see now.
It is coming and it is going sometimes.
Okay. So did you work any like kernel side? So Linux kernel, did you create any time?
Sorry?
Kernel. Did you create any kernel in Linux?
No, I didn't that one. So just user perspective, I am very good in that.
Okay, so you are comfortable with the kernel also?
Yes. If you have any requirement, definitely I can go ahead and I can.
So what are the run levels in Linux?
Sorry?
What are the run levels in Linux?
Run?
Levels.
run levels. So that's what init 0, init 1, init. So if you want to run in the single user mode, so init 3, multi-user, say init 4. So like that. So mainly we use the multi-user mode because server is not like you can connect n number of users. We created that multiple users. Okay, they are connecting to that particular user and the particular server. So they are working on that server.
Mm-hmm. So could you please explain about the final file system of Linux?
Okay, file system. So main it is the like slash we used to call as root directory. So in that we have different subdirectories are there like home, etc, bin, sbin, tmp, slash opt. So these are the subdirectories in that particular root directory. In the root home directory, it will create that each user it will create one directory. Suppose one user I have created like Madhu. So for user Madhu, it will create one directory called Madhu in the slash home directory. So that is the Madhu user home directory. So under etc directory, all the configuration files like shadow, G shadow, groups, okay, pass WD, MOTD message of the day, and sudo x file, like that many configuration files will be there. And etc that opt, so all the softwares I have installed in that op directory, and a temp directory, so its name itself temporary directory. If you want to share with any some files with other users, you don't have the access to. Suppose I want to share with Chiranjeevi user any file, I don't have the access to the Chiranjeevi user home directory slash home slash Chiranjeevi. So that time what I will do, I will copy one file into the temp directory. Okay, so that you can copy from there to your home directory. So like temp directory will use that one. And also bin directory, sbin, all the binary files will be in the bin directory. And sbin also it is all the binary files. But in the sbin means system binaries like reboot, shutdown. These are the binaries will be available in the sbin directory. Only the root user can able to access those binary files.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. 1 second, Madhu. Give me 1 second. So like I'll take some notes. Give me a second.
Okay.
Madhu?
Yes?
Yeah. So in Linux, what is ACL?
Sorry?
What is ACL?
Access control list. ACL, right? Access control list.
Yes. Yes. Madhu, like, could you please explain about ACL?
So ACL in the Linux you were asking. So it is like access control list. The abbreviation for this one is the access control list. Mainly, if you want to organize that permission set of kind of thing, it is name itself is the access control list. So if you want to access manage that control list, we'll use this one. Suppose like create any one file. Okay. So if you want to give that permission list, so you can manage that get facts like, so automatically it will give what are the permissions for that one. It will give what is the group of that one, owner of that one. It will give that one, and what are the permissions they are having. It will give. Hello? Hello?
Madhu, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Now I can. Earlier, for last one, maybe some fraction of seconds, it is not.
Okay. Could you please explain what are the file, what are the permissions you covered as a Linux file?
So Linux file permissions.
Yes.
So each file or each directory it is having three sets of permissions like a user, group, others. So each user are having the read, write, execute. Means read if that first set it will show read user. Other one is third set is showing that second set is showing the group. Third set is showing the others. So if you want to, you can change that one, change the permissions using the chmod command. Chmod, what are the permissions you can give? 7 is the highest permission in that Linux, and give the file name. So or a directory name also you can give, so that it will change the default permissions to the whatever the permissions you want. And also if you want to, so this what is the this default permission will be based on the umask value.
Okay. So how will you check the system performance?
So if you want to check the system performance, we'll use one command called as a top command. It will give how many users are logged in, how much of CPU utilization, okay, how many users and what they are doing. Okay, just you can use the w command. It will show what they are doing, means what they are executing. So how much of swap space, RAM space, everything it will give, and which process it is taking more CPU utilization and RAM, everything it will show.
Okay. So could you please explain? Could you please explain about SSH?
SSH.
Yes.
So SSH is a secure shell. If you want to connect to any of the server, SSH username that server host name we can use. So automatically it will ask the password first. It will you can use the password. It will automatically connect to that particular server. If you want to passwordless communication, you can first generate the SSH keys using SSH-keygen. Then you can copy. Once if you execute that command, it will generate two keys. One is id_rsc, id_rsc.pub. In that user home directory, it will create one folder called .ssh. There it will generate. So if you want to copy that one, ssh-copy-id command and give the username and @host name. So that particular server, it will copy. First time it will ask the password. So next time onwards, just execute that SSH username that particular server IP address or host name. So automatically it will connect to that server.
Okay. What is LVM? What is LVM?
Logical volume. This one. So
yes.
So you are asking about that explanation?
Yes.
So mainly it will be.
Yeah, go ahead.
Suppose if you want to create the partitions, okay, whatever in the that mount point, okay, or that partition, if you want to create that one, so we'll use this logical volumes, okay. So in that physical hard disk, suppose if you want to see the how many portions, first we'll use that fdisk-l. It will display all the partitions and all. So there you can create n number of partitions and you can mount that partitions to that particular this one.
Okay, what is umask?
So umask based on the umask only that okay, based on the umask only it will set the values of that one. Suppose umask value, if you want to see the umask value, just you can type that umask. It will give that whatever the particular user umask will give that value. So based on that umask value only, it will set the default permissions for file or directory.
Okay. So can I turn Linux system into a proxy server?
Can you turn a Linux server as
Linux system into a proxy server?
Proxy server. Yes, you can turn as a Linux server as a proxy server.
Okay. So what is the difference between home directory and working directory?
So home directory is nothing but suppose one user is called as Madhu. For Madhu, home directory will be the /home/Madhu is the home directory. Working directory means where you are currently you have pointing to that directory. Suppose if you want to see that present working directory, just pwd you can type. It will give the print working directory.
Okay. Okay, got it. So like coming to Git.
Okay.
So could you please explain a branching strategy? What are you following in the project?
So I'm following like 4 branches. By default, once we'll create the repository, it will be a one branch called as master branch. Okay. After that, we are creating the development branch. For development branch, all the developers are connecting and they are writing the code. And once they will say it is working fine, from development branch only we are deploying into the dev environment. So once they will say okay, it is working fine, then working with the tech lead. Suppose while integrating, if you get any merge issues, conflicts, merge conflicts, I will work with the development lead because I am not the right person to check that whether it is the correct code in that local branch, local repository, the particular branch to this branch. If any merge conflict issues, I will work with the tech lead and I'm fixing that one. Then from master branch, we are moving the code to that staging environment. Okay, once that done, it is development QA team will test that one. So from there, we are moving same to the production also. Suppose assume if you in the production you got you find any issue. So instead of working on the master branch, we'll create that development one branch called as bug fix and hyphen that bug name, defect name will create. And on top of that one, developer will work on and again will deploy into the dev. It will go to the and we are again matching with.
So like you have mentioned like you have one master branch and one development branch. Development team will push their changes to the development branch. Right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So
And
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and suppose if you want to develop any feature branch immediately, whether that is a high priority feature, you need to implement within these 2-3 days. Like so, that time we'll create that on top of master. We're creating one branch called as feature branch, and with that feature ID. So we are working on the developer is working on that one, and we'll test it in the dev environment, staging environment. Then we are once it is done, we are merging with the master, and we are deploying into that production environment.
So like is that the best practice? Like every developer has to push their changes directly to the development branch?
Yeah. So for some of the projects, like we were, they are following like. So what they are doing, they are not working directly on the development branch. What they are doing, that just they are forking that branch to the repository to their personal account, and they are working on that one. Then they are creating a one pull request from that repository to this repository and selecting the branch name and here the target branch name. So they will create the pull request and it is going to the tech lead. He will review that one, and once it is successful, they are merging with that main development branch. So like that also some of the projects they are following.
So you have mentioned like you will create one high priority branch when you have production deployment,
yes.
production fix, right?
Yes.
So like after the deployment of that branch, so what you will do? That branch will like
we'll merge first. We'll merge with the master. So one commit. So that is small issue. So we'll commit commit into that particular commit, and we are merging that one into the master branch. So if you want to take only one that particular commit and you can you want to apply into that master branch, I have used the git cherry pick that commit ID. Okay. So for finding the commit ID, I used the git log. So it will display that commit ID. I will take that commit and I will switch to the master branch. Okay. For switching git to checkout master branch, that then I'm executing the git cherry pick under this whatever commit ID. So in that bug fix branch, it will commit deploy put it into that master branch.
So like I'm asking like once the branch has been merged into master from the master you're going to deploy it, right?
Yes.
From, like I'm asking. So after that, like, what about that branch? It will be like that only, or like?
No. After that, we are deleting that branch. So git branch -d that branch name.
Okay. So like, what is git stash?
So git stash. Suppose you are working on one branch and you want to but you are in between. After that, you mess up something. You don't want to work on that one. Later, maybe you will come and you can work on that particular branch. But but you don't want to commit that one. But you are, without committing, and if you switch to the other branch, same changes it will come to this particular branch. So what you will do, just execute that git stash, so and save, give that comment. So automatically it will take that and it will put it into one temporary space. If you want to see that all that how many times you took the backup, execute git stash list. So it will list that all the how many times you took that one. So if you want again apply that one, you can use git stash apply, and you can give that index. So 0 1 2 3 stash flower bracket 0 stash flower bracket 1 I will source. So if you want to use apply that one, you can particular that stash also ID also you can use. So if you use stash apply, what it will do, it will apply, and in the temporary space still it will be delete, it will be remain same. If you want to drop that one, delete that one from temporary space, git stash, okay, then drop, give that stash ID, it will delete. So instead of this
stash drop,
stash git stash drop, and give that stash ID. Okay, so that particular stash, whatever you executed, right, that particular ID, stash ID, it will delete from the temporary space. Instead of this one, you can go with git pop and whatever that stash ID, git stash pop ID. So what it will do, it will apply that one, whatever, and it will delete with a single command. That is the main difference. Git stash apply and git stash pop.
So what is the difference between git pull and git fetch?
Git full and git fetch both are used for getting the updates from the remote repository. Okay, so git fetch is like just it will take the update from the remote repository, and it will put it into the local repository. But if you use git pull, so it will take the updates code from the remote repository and it will put in local repository. Then it will put it into the workspace also, working area. Sometimes you may override. Suppose same file you have executed, updated, and you have executed git full. Sometimes it may override. So better to use git fetch. Then it will come to the local repository. From there, if you want to get into your local workspace, so use the git merge. So automatically whatever it is there in that local repository, it will come to the working area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So like so you have decided to reverse the commit which is already pushed to the public.
Yeah. See, suppose that time what you will do, only the latest one you can revert. Suppose I have badly committed unknowingly, but that is not working. So what you will do, just find that what is the commit ID which I have committed with badly. Git log, take that commit ID, git revert, give that commit ID, so that it will delete from your local repository. But the same thing I need to update into the remote repository as well. That time you can git push whatever that origin name, okay, then branch name -f. So what it will do, it will override whatever updates with your local repository to the remote repository.
Okay. So what is git rebase?
So git rebase is one of the integration method. So it's like, suppose if you want to merge two branches, okay, integrate two branches from one branch code to the other branch, we'll use the git rebase, that branch name. Okay, so here, and suppose assume git master branch and bug fix branch. So in the bug fix branch, 5 times we have committed, and that bug fix branch code I want to merge with the master. So what you will use, git, first you have to connect to the master branch, pointing to the master branch. First that one git checkout master, then execute this git rebase, whatever that bug fix branch. So what it will do, whatever it is there, 5 commits we have committed, everything it will come and it will put it into your master branch. So here clear picture is there in which commit ID what you have updated.
Okay. So coming to Jenkins.
Okay.
So what are the benefits of using Jenkins?
So it is like a continuous integration tool. If you use that Jenkins, so it will the integration step in the software development lifecycle, there is no integration step, because when we are following, suppose assume waterfall model, here all the doing, and here we need to integrate development with this one. Here, if you use the continuous integration tool, as soon as the developer commits the code into that version control system, Jenkins will take that updated code. Against that code, it will run the unit test cases. So those will be developed by the developer. It will run that unit test case. Suppose if it is a Java code, it is a J unit test case, a Java unit test cases, and it will check that all the unit test cases. Once the unit test cases are passed, then it will do a build, okay, and it will create an artifact. So it will send a notification. So due to this one, immediately bug detection will be, we can find it.
So you're explaining about core Jenkins pipeline.
Not Jenkins pipeline. So just the benefits of continuous integration tool.
Okay. Could you please explain Jenkins pipeline?
So Jenkins pipeline, suppose we have created one file called a Jenkins file. So you can write that all the workflow there using the, so I have used, actually we can write this Jenkins in two formats. One is like a scripted format and the declarative, but I followed that scripted format. I used that Groovy script. There I have written all the workflow. So like for stages, different stages. So first one is that getting the updated code from that version control system, then running unit test cases, then it will be like creating that artifact, then Sonar Cube, then we are pushing that artifacts into the remote repository, then like deploying, so then it will send a notification. So all these steps we have written in all the workflow in the Jenkins file. So that Jenkins file we are putting into along with that project source code in that root folder. So J capital letter Jenkins file, no extension it is. So while creating that CI/CD pipeline in the Jenkins, so we'll select that the project type will be the pipeline. Once we select that one, it will ask. So the source file script will be, pipeline script will be from SCM, or we can write that workflow script in the pipeline Jenkins there itself.
So, Madhusudan, how will you communicate upstream jobs and downstream jobs? How will you arrange the communication between these two jobs?
So there I didn't work on, because see, we are for each environment we are using one CI/CD pipeline. So like Jenkins, this dev environment, so and the staging environment.
No, like pipeline means the step-by-step operations you're talking about, right?
Sorry?
So first, so pipeline in the sense for every environment you create only one job, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So after that you can mention that once this is done, so there you can see that one option. It is done, successfully done, then we can, based on that result of first one, we can run on the second project with help of this upstream, downstream.
Okay. Got it. So coming to Jenkins, how will you secure your Jenkins? What type of securities you provide for your Jenkins job?
So we can achieve, manage, for this one, manage Jenkins, global configure secure, configure secure. So there you will go, you can see that enable the secure. So here you can use LDAP, or you can use your Jenkins own database. So if you use Jenkins own database, you have to create the users, and for that users by default it will he will get that admin access. Instead of that one, you can select that project based authorization secure matrix. So there, and you can select and you can give that what are the for which users what is the access, whether only the in the jobs, only the read, okay, and create or discard and cancel, like that different options are there for that particular user. So mainly the developers will use only that he can able to read the jobs, and sometimes we are giving that build option also, build trigger build now. That option is there, build option. So like that.
Okay, like how many ways we have schedule a Jenkins job?
So you can schedule a job in two ways. Like it's pool ACM. So another one is hooks and services you can, or you can use that schedulers. So in that particular job, you can go and you can build a schedule. So this particular time, each time whatever you have given that one, it will keep on running. So if you use this method, whether updated code is there or not, that particular time it will go on trigger and it will go to the version control system. It will take the updated code, and it will, if it is updated there, it will take. Otherwise, even though it will take the code from the version control system, it will do a build and it will do all these steps. But if you use the pool ACM, whatever the time interval you have set in that Jenkins, that particular time interval, it will go to the version control system and it will check is there any updated code is there or not. So how it will identify that updated code is there or not? Based on the commit ID. So Jenkins having one commit ID, and even GitHub, that version control system also maintain the version commit ID. If both are matches, it assumes there is no updated code. So that time it will the build will not trigger. Okay. So if both are not matched, it Jenkins assumes some updated code is in the GitHub. So it will go to that GitHub and it will take the updated code. Then it will do the build. So in the
you have a scenario like I want to migrate the Jenkins job from one server to another server.
Okay. So so if you want to migrate that Jenkins server one server to, so first what you will do in Linux server, some Linux server B, suppose assume in Linux server old server is there. In Linux server B, new Jenkins server you have installed. So what you will do, first install in the Linux server B Jenkins. Okay, and once successfully installed, stop that one and go to that home directory. You will see one folder called as .jenkins folder. Okay, so take that backup and come to the Jenkins server A. Take that backup of that home directory, Jenkins home directory. If you want all the configurations and then take that one and you can copy into the server B. Just you can restart the Jenkins server in the B. So that automatically all the configurations, these things, it will come into the server B.
Okay. Got it. So like which script you are comfortable?
Shell script I am comfortable, Chiranjeev.
Shell script you are comfortable, okay. So coming to Ansible.
Okay.
So how much rate yourself on Ansible out of 5?
Out of 5 I can give 3.5.
3.5. Okay. Good. So could you please explain about Ansible architecture?
Okay, sure. So Ansible, it will mainly will work on the push-based architecture. So it's like you don't want to install any agents in that host machines. So just it will mainly work on the SSH connection type. So suppose assume you have hundreds of host machines are there. So in that 100 machines you want to connect to this through Ansible, and you have to execute one playbook. So first what you will do, you take that all the Ansible that in a host machines IP addresses are in host names and put it into the inventory file, host inventory file. Okay, so host inventory file. Just and before doing that one, first you have to generate the in Ansible server passwordless communication. So generate the SSH key and copy into that all that 100 servers. Okay, so what it will do, because it is using the SSH connection, right? So SSH and whatever that particular, so passwordless communication we have to generate between the host servers and this particular IP Ansible server. Then all the IP addresses of host machines we can put it into the inventory file. So that is the host inventory file will add. So after successfully done all the environment, so now the next part is the playbook. That is another component in that Ansible. So the playbook is nothing but it is a one sample YML file. It is a one file. It will be written in the YAML format. So what it will do, just whatever needs to execute that, whatever the task we want to do in that all the 100 servers, that one we will write in that Ansible playbook. So it's like a one file, but the extension is .yml. It is a one YAML format. So all the things will, suppose in the 100 servers, it will be like different types of will be there. Like suppose app servers will be, web servers, DB servers, web servers. Like different, we can make it the groups. Suppose if any DB related patches, if you want to apply, only just you can put that in the playbook host colon what that group name you can put. Okay, so that it will assume so this playbook has to run in this particular group of servers. After that, you can put that task colon then hyphen name whatever the task name you can give. And suppose if you want to install that HTTP server, okay, hyphen yum colon, okay, that name is equal to whatever. Suppose I want to install HTTP and the state is equal to present, so that it will install that one. So there you can use mention become true. So what it will do?
Are you able to write in a playbook?
Yes, I can write that playbook.
Okay, like
So,
you have a scenario like I will give you one scenario to write a playbook. Okay.
Okay.
So like you need to install like some X software and some node. Okay. So you have to request like install Jenkins and some X node.
Okay.
So could you please write a playbook for that one?
Yeah, sure. I will write the playbook. Yes. So the playbook will be like sample install Jenkins.yml. Install Jenkins.yml. Okay, that is the playbook name I am writing. I am typing. So that is the playbook name. Then I will mention. So suppose in the CI servers. Okay, that is the group name. So hyphen host colon that CI servers, because I'm mentioning the group name as CI servers. Okay. Then hyphen tasks. Okay, colon. Then hyphen I will type name. Okay, name and done. So then YUM. So there YUM is a one module. So for installing that YUM colon name is equal to then Jenkins. Okay. Then state colon state is equal to present. One second, it is my keyboard is just stuck. Okay, done. Can you see? Can you see, Chiranjeev?
Yes, I'm able to see also.
Yeah, I typed.
Okay. Got it. So like you have a requirement to install Ansible on CentOS.
Okay.
So what type of prerequisites you will check before the deployment, before the installation?
So you want to install that Ansible in that CentOS server.
Yes.
So first of all, Ansible, if you want to install Ansible, definitely Ansible is developed using the Python. First we need to check whether Python is installed or not. So if the Python is installed, just directly go ahead and YUM, whatever that repository name you can give, then you can give the YUM install Ansible. So automatically it will install. If you want to check that after installation successfully whether it is installed or not, just type that Ansible hyphen version. It will display which version of Ansible you have installed.
Okay. Got it. So could you please explain like Maven lifecycle?
Maven lifecycle, here three life cycles are there. One is a clean, site, and another important one is the default lifecycle. So mainly we are using that clean and and default life cycle. In the clean, again, one important goal is called as clean gold. What it will do, it will delete the previous build file system, like in the target folder. So MVN clean, if you execute, that is the goal name. Okay, so it will delete the previous build. Another important life cycle is default life cycle. There we have different goals are there: validate, compile, test, package, install, deploy. So suppose if you execute MVN package, so but before this one executing package, it will first execute the validate. It will validate all the resource files in the directory structure. Then it will compile the source code as well as that unit test cases, whatever the JUnit test cases. Then it will run that against the unit test case against the source code. Then it will create that artifact. So like it's a whatever you mentioned in that the pom.xml in the packaging tag, it will create that artifact like jar, var, or here based on that one. After then another one is install is there. MVN install if you use, what it will do, it will all these things it will execute that validate, compile, test, package. Then whatever that artifact it has generated, it will copy that artifact into our Maven local repository. Okay. So one more goal called as deploy goal. If you use MVN deploy, all these things it will happen and it will create the package. Then it will put that artifact into your remote repository based on whatever that you have configured that remote repository in your pom.xml, either Nexus or JFrog. For that one, we'll use first
Okay.
we'll create. Yes.
Okay, got it. So coming to web server.
Hmm.
Okay, so you're familiar with Apache, right?
Yes, correct.
So like on a single mission, can I maintain 2 web servers?
Single?
On a single mission, can I maintain 2 web servers?
No. So, because this web server will run in the port number 80. So, with the same port number, you are not able to run in the multiple instances of web server.
Okay. So like, did you ever install Linux, like Apache Linux?
Yes. So, in that Red Hat server, we have installed that Apache STB server. And we are doing the load balancing as well as so we are deploying earlier initially we were deploying JBoss in the application that where application in the JBoss 3 instances. We are doing that load balancing. So for that one, what we did in 3 instances, we have deployed this application in the JBoss. Okay, now and the JBoss each server that JBoss URL will be linked. So those things we are installed in one of the server, a HTTP server. So there we have configured in that this one proxy load that http.config directory. So there you have to enable the reverse proxy, all these things and all. So there we are mentioning
Okay.
this one.
Okay, also. So like, example, like one website has been posted on the Apache web server.
Okay.
How will you what type of security you will provide on the website?
So you can suppose you can create self-signed certificates. So create the self-signed certificates and install that self-signed certificates in that HTTP server. So it will and you can give the certificates path in that HTTP conf and enable that modules by default that SSL modules are not enabled in the HTTP server. So what you will do, enable that HTTP SSL modules in the HTTP server dot that HTTP.conf file. Then you can give that certification path. So then the URL become instead of HTTP, it will be like HTTPS that website name. So that we can securely access that resources in that particular website.
So like you have a scenario to deploy a var file.
Okay.
Okay. So how will you deploy on Apache?
So Apache in var file will not deploy. See, because that Apache, it will be like web server, it will support only the static content. So if you want to deploy var file, you can use a Tomcat or any Wildfly or JBoss. So now we call as Wildfly. Earlier JBoss, now we call as Wildfly. But you are not able to deploy that var file into that Apache STP server.
Okay. So can I deploy Java application in Apache?
No. Only that static content you can, like any website, only the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, image files you can deploy into that htdocs folder. That is the default file name called as index.html.
Okay, got it. One second. Okay. So coming to Docker.
Okay.
So what is container in Docker?
So container, suppose like first if you want to create a container, first the step is like image, Docker image. Without image you are not. So first if you want to create image, Docker file. So Docker decapitulator Docker file, D and DOCKR So Docker file is in like nothing but it is a source file for the Docker image. Without creating Docker file, you are not able to create the Docker image. So in that Docker file, you can mention all the Docker keywords like from, maintainer, run, CMD, work dir, like volumes, like different keywords are there. Just create the Docker file. With the Docker file, you can convert the Docker file to create the Docker file to the Docker image. For that one, we can use Docker build -t that image name and space dot means in current directory Docker file is there. Take the Docker file and you can create the Docker image. So it will create
like
the
whenever you say like whatever you saying comments. So could you please write this in chat window? So that will be helpful for me.
Okay. So you want me to write a Docker file?
Yes.
Okay. So as a Docker file, it will be default like a decapitulator. So Docker file, that is a file name. Okay. So first it will be like from keyword, because from is a one keyword in the Docker. It will be download from the base image. So assume I am using the CentOS :07. So from CentOS. Okay, I am typing 1 second. Then I will use that maintainer, maintainer. Okay. So then whatever that author name, maintainer is nothing but author name. So then run. Suppose you want to execute some commands, install yum, install Java. Suppose on top of CentOS, I want to install Java. So run space yum install Java. So after that, I want to check the version. Suppose after installing run, so Java version. So like that you can create that one. So volumes, give the volume name /home or whatever that volume. So this is a Docker file. Once you can create the Docker file, so with the help of one command, okay, we can create that Docker image. Docker build -t. Okay, I'm typing. So that image name, whatever the image you are going to create. Okay. So then dot. So what it will do, from current directory, Docker file is there. Okay. Take the Docker file, create the image. So once it is created, okay. So one second. So once it is done, it will create the images. That image, whatever the image we have given. If you want to see that images, just type that Docker, okay, image, Docker images.
Okay. You're done?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So what is the difference between Docker and hypervisor?
Docker and hypervisor. Suppose if you use that hypervisor, any virtual box or this one. So if you in the using virtual box hypervisor, virtual box is nothing but hypervisor. So on top of host operating system, you can install that hypervisor. On top of hypervisor, you can create different virtual box like a CentOS, Red Hat, Windows operating system. So while creating that image itself, that virtual box, we are allocating some memory, suppose 32 GB RAM or to 500 GB hard disk. Okay, like that each server we have. But assume that what of that virtual box we have created, it is not utilizing that much RAM size and all. But we are not able to reuse that whatever we are allocated to that virtual box. That okay. So and we are not able to allocate to other new instance as well as. But if you use the Docker, so you can create n number of containers. What it will do, dynamically it will take that whatever the resources from your host operating system.
So did you ever write any compose file?
Yeah, I have created that. Suppose.
So what language you used for this one?
YAML I have used.
Okay. So can I use JSON instead of YAML?
You can use, but I didn't try that one. Just I used the YAML.
Okay. So could you please write a command for me to stop the container and restart again?
Stop a container? Container.
Yeah.
So for that one, just
please write a command for me.
Okay, Docker. First you have to find that container ID. Okay. For that one, Docker ps-a. So Docker ps-a, if you type, okay, it will give that all the container IDs, all the names and all. So take that container ID, and if you execute that Docker, okay, stop, okay, and give that container name, container ID or container name. Okay, it will stop that container.
Okay. Could you please restart the Docker again?
Sorry?
Could you please restart the Docker again? You stopped, right?
Docker?
So you have written a command to stop the Docker.
Yes, Docker stop container ID.
Yeah. Could you please restart write the command for restart?
Okay, so Docker restart the container ID. Yeah, see, you can pause it also. Okay.
Okay.
Pause, stop, start. These are the different states are there, container states.
Okay.
So this is.
So could you please write some Docker commands which you use regularly?
Okay. So suppose I want to see that all the logs in the Docker container. Just Docker logs that container ID I will give. Okay. So that it will give what are the logs in that one. Suppose assume I want to connect to that container and I want to execute some commands. So Docker attach, okay, and give the container ID. So just I will connect to that container, and you can go and you can see that what are the file system in that one. Okay. So, but if you execute this Docker attach command, but before that executing that command, you have to check whether that container is running or not. This Docker attach command will work in only the running containers only, running containers. Okay. So you can see, suppose I don't want to add connecting to that one and I don't want to see that. But without connecting also, I can execute some commands. For that one, so Docker exec execute Docker space exec and give the container ID. Okay. So that and container ID, and you can give the command. What is the command you want to execute in ls-l, suppose. Docker exe container ID ls-l, so that it will display what is the file system in that one, that particular root directory. By default it will display.
Okay, got it. Got it. So, okay. So coming to shell.
Okay.
Okay. So like I have a sample list. Are you able to see this, right?
Sorry, Can you type it? Still, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, give me a second.
Okay.
So you able to see now?
Yes, I can see. Okay, so you want to find that average of.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so for that one, just I will take that this one. Okay, but this is array, correct?
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Right.
Yes. So if you want to take that array first value, so sample, okay, underscore list is the array. So what I will do, I will put it into that one for loop. Okay, I will put it into the for loop. Okay, okay, just one second. Okay, for loop array for it is not typing for loop. So int sorry, I is equal to 1 second. I is equal to 0, and then I less than, okay, that sample, okay, underscore list, okay, that the size, I will use this one. So it will give the size of that one. Okay. And second typing colon. So I plus plus and so now do the for loop start with do. Then here I will write. So you want to take that average, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
first I will add that one. So I will take the site. So how I will add? So first we will use the ex here. So first assume avg average is the one variable is equal to, so dollar symbol, each value I will get. Okay. Dollar symbol, flower bracket. Okay. And the sample underscore list. Okay. And it will get that first value dollar hyphen of g hyphen of I, index of I, index of, it is not 1 second, index of dollar I means it will get the first value of value. So like that it will, so we have to use the exp keyword. So average is equal to, first I will put that one, okay, then average, now it will get the first value, means it will get the 34, okay, then so in the for loop I forget I is equal to 0, so I typed mistakenly. So average is equal to that array list first index means it will give the 0, means first index means I of 0 means 34 it will give, okay, then okay, so next line, okay, same avg, okay, is equal to, so dollar of abc, okay, and plus expr, okay, $of sample underscore list $of I. Okay, so it's done. So the for loop, it will be done with that, means the closing is that done. What it will go, so for I is equal to 0, means we are initializing I less than or equal, I less than that array list size that one. So I forgot that hash, dollar symbol, flower bracket, hash. If you use hash,
Okay.
that array name, it will give that the size of that array. Okay, and we are checking that one. If it is the condition is satisfied, it will come inside. AVG is a one variable is equal to, first we are getting the I value. Then like that we are getting that iterating that each value from the array list, and we are adding into that average variable. Okay, then sorry, I forgot to by divided by whatever that AVG dollars, that percentage symbol divided by this array list size. Okay, automatically it will
Okay.
use that size. I forgot another step. I have time.
No issues. I got it. Okay. Coming to AWS.
Okay.
So could you please explain about EC2?
So EC2 like Elastic Cloud Computing. It's like one any Linux server. Okay. So earlier we were using on-premises servers. Instead of that one, if you use on-premises servers, so for the maintaining is the costly. So like in the AWS, they are providing different virtual machines. Like you can use the Red Hat using that EC2. You can create CentOS, virtual Windows machine, whatever that one. So once we create that one, it will give some PM file. So with help of that one, you can connect to that EC2 instance. You can install any of the softwares, or you can input a number of commands.
What is S3?
So S3 is like a simple storage service. If you want to store any of the images, okay, or if any volumes, big large volumes, we'll use the S3. So it will be like, and it will give us one API. So one of the application in the developer, so they are using that S3 just for uploading the images. So what we are doing, we have created one S3 server bucket. So once you create, it will give the URL. So take that URL and give it to the developer and give the credentials for that particular access that API if you want to. So they are connecting to that one and they are uploading the images through the Java application.
Looks like you got disconnected from Skype.
Sorry, no, I have not disconnected.
Like I'm not able to see you actually. Even I'm able to see only two parts.
Broadband, that's one. So still I'm in there only. My audio, video also it is there.
Mm-hmm. So like still it was showing only two participants. That's the reason I'm asking. So one is Mahesh and one is myself.
But I can
Okay.
see Mahesh and
Okay.
my photo also.
So could you please, are you able to see message here or that tapping here?
Sorry?
So like I just send the hi message.
Which one?
Hello.
Yes, I can able to hear you.
So one second. Like you saw me. Okay. You said like
The connections, yeah.
Okay. No issues, Madhusudan. Yeah. Like can I create like S3 in EC2?
S3, no, that is separate service. See, EC2 is different service and another S3 is a different service. How we will connect? You are not able to create that S3.
Not able to create. Okay. So did you ever create any load balancer?
Yes, so Elastic load balancing. So here we use the application load balancing. So different load balancing in that AWS, like application load balancing and network load balancing, these things. But I have used load balancing, application load balancing.
Okay. So did you ever create any IAM profile?
Yeah, IAM profile. So I am the
So
senior.
while creating the IAM profile, what type of prerequisites you look for?
So first we'll see that what kind of, so we'll get the request from user. So what kind of access he want. So okay, so whether he want a programmatic access or console access. In that programmatic access also, suppose he want to whether only which services he want to give the access, either EC2 or S3 or BBC, whatever that access is. In that also basic, suppose if you want to basic role you want to. So policies are different and the roles are different. So policies that but set of roles so predefined already Amazon is providing. So if among that if you want to create, you can create your own profile, that profiles as well as policies,
So like,
not profile policies.
did you ever apply any auto scaling technique?
Auto scaling, I didn't get a chance to work on that one, but we have created that. So one of the other DevOps engineer created that CloudWatch, and he is in that CloudWatch. I think he configured that all the configurations. So suppose if that CPU utilization reaches 80%, automatically he is adding that one more CPU to that particular EC2 instance. So I didn't get a chance to that one because other guy took that one. So, but I have the knowledge.
Okay, no issues, no issues. Okay, 1 second. So Madhusudan, I'm done with this interview. So if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer you.
Thanks a lot, Chiranjeevi and Madhu. First of all, because you spent a lot of time and okay. And just I have one question. What kind of profile you are looking? So DevOps means less like a broad term, yes or no?
Yeah.
In the lot of these tools are there specific any you are in your company, if you are using any specific tools which internally developed or any kind of just.
No, we are looking for the candidate who are expertise in the scripting, any scripting. Okay.
Okay.
At the same time, he has a good experience, good hands-on experience on continuous integration, continuous deployment.
Okay.
Okay. So at the same time, he has a good experience in any instruction as automation code, Ansible, Puppet, anything.
Okay.
So
okay. Continue. Sorry.
He must have based on experience. For L1 level, some will look for something. For L2 level, will look for something. For L3 level, for L4 level, So all any level that master should be scripting, CI/CD, and any infrastructure code, automation code, anything. Okay. So these three master should have at the same time Linux and network level.
Okay.
So
thank you.
As you mentioned, coming to DevOps project, point to point, stack will change.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Chiranjeevi.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Madhi.
Welcome.
Okay. Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Good discussion.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Fine, right? We will continue with this.
Yes. So can I put the headset?
No, keep the headset to your phone and on your video.
Okay. Video will be there.
I will put that video will be there and we will be continuing with this. Okay. Hello, Madhu, could you please enable your video? So I'm not able to see you. Madhu, are you able to hear me?
Hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm able to see you.
Go to the meet now. So I'm hearing you are in that Skype and here also. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello?
Give me a second. Yeah, give me a second.
Okay.
Give me a second. Yes, Madhusudan.
Yes, tell me.
So finally we are set.
Yes. Tell me. Okay. So My name is Madhusudan. I have 4 years of experience.
One second, Madhu.
Okay.
One second. So, I will explain you the interview process, okay?
Okay.
Okay, this interview will be into 3 parts.
Okay. So can you speak loudly? Little loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's better.
1 second. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I will explain you the interview process.
Okay.
This will be 3 parts.
Okay.
Okay. So, first we'll start with our mutual introduction.
Okay.
Okay. Then, we'll go with some technical interview part.
Okay.
Okay. As part of technical interview, you have to write some code snippets in the chat window.
Okay.
Okay. So after that, if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer here.
Okay.
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 This interview will be nearly 45 minutes to 1 hour. Is it okay for you, right?
Yes.
Are you comfortable?
Yes.
Okay. So as part of this interview, I will take notes as a feedback on you. Okay. Okay. So coming to myself, I'm Chiranjeevi, working as a Devops engineer in EPAM from 6+ years.
Okay.
Coming to EPAM is a service-based company which provides services to multiple vendors, like pharma, banking, finance, like that. So this is about EPAM and myself.
Okay.
Start from your side.
Okay.
Start from your side.
Okay. So my name is Madhusudan. I have 4.2 years of experience as a
So
Devops.
Madhu, could you please mute your Skype?
Skype is already in mute only.
No, I'm saying your yes. Now continue.
Okay. So my name is Madhusudan Naidu. I have 4.2 years of experience as a DevOps engineer. So in that experience, I have worked on DevOps tools like version control systems, GitHub, Bitbucket, Git, and build tools, and Maven I have worked on. And the Tomcat, Wildfly application servers, and the Nexus and Jaffa as the artifact repositories I worked on. And the SonarQube as a source code quality management tool I have worked on. And Jenkins as a continuous integration tool I have used. I know that Travis CI has just knowledge, but I didn't get a chance to work on. And the Docker I have worked on for container-based deployment. And the Ansible I have 4 years of experience.
One second, Madhu.
Okay.
1 second. So, I will explain you the interview process, okay? Okay, this interview will be into 3 parts.
Okay. So can you speak loudly? Little loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's better.
1 second. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will explain you the interview process. This will be 3 parts.
Okay.
So first we'll start with our mutual introduction.
Okay.
Then we'll go with some technical interview part.
Okay.
As part of technical interview, you have to write some code snippets in the chat window.
Okay.
So after that, if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer here.
Okay.
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 This interview will be nearly 45 minutes to 1 hour. Is it okay for you, right?
Yes.
Are you comfortable?
Yes.
Okay. So as part of this interview, I will take notes as a feedback on you. Okay. Okay. So coming to myself, I'm Chiranjeevi, working as a Devops engineer in EPAM from 6+ years.
Okay.
Coming to EPAM is a service-based company which provides services to multiple vendors, like pharma, banking, finance, like that. So this is about EPAM and myself.
Okay.
Start from your side.
Okay.
Start from your side.
Okay. So my name is Madhusudan. I have 4.2 years of experience.
Okay. So in your current project, you are using Docker for containerization, right?
Yes, correct.
Can you explain a bit about how Docker you are using?
So Docker is a containerization. Just it is you can develop and you can build and you can package that one and you can deploy into any of the environment. So in my current project, so we are using multiple these services. So for each services, microservices, we are creating one Docker file. What it will do, it will create a build artifact with help of that build tools memory. And after creating that build artifact, we are packaging using this Docker file. We are converting the Docker file into that Docker image. In that Docker image, it is containing like that is var file. Along with that var file, all the dependency jar files, and also it is software. Like suppose we are deploying into that wildfly. So everything we are converting that all the Docker file to the Docker image, and we are deploying into that Docker swarm. So we are providing like clustering for that particular application. So for this one, I have used the Docker.
Okay. So in your current project, means you are responsible for creating the Docker files?
Yes, I am responsible. I only created the Docker file.
Okay. So can you tell me how we can actually put an instruction in the Docker file, like whenever I will run the Docker image, this is my starting point.
So for that one, you can use the CMD command. CMD command, and whatever that instruction if you want to execute, it will execute that one. Using the CMD command, we can achieve that one.
No, I'm saying in the entry point, means whenever I will run my Docker image, this is the starting point. This is the script it should execute first. So how I can mention it in my Docker file?
So for that one, we'll use that entry point also. So using entry point, that command is there. Entry, the Docker keyword. So using that entry point keyword, we can mention which script or which command you have to execute first. We can achieve that one.
Okay. So say for example, my host system OS is Ubuntu, okay? And I want to run a different flavor of Linux in my container. Is it possible?
So your host operating system is the Ubuntu. Yes.
Ubuntu or any OS.
Okay. Yes. See that Docker, what it will do. You have to install the first in that Ubuntu software. Ubuntu, suppose I am using the Windows machine as my host operating system. First, I have to install that Docker engine, so that you can, on top of Docker engine, you can run any of the operating systems. As a base, suppose if you want to, suppose I am using mainly the CentOS and Red Hat operating system images. So we are deploying this all Docker engine. We are using all these. The Docker images we are deploying in the Linux operating system. So there I have installed the Docker engine. So there you can run all the different Docker images. It will be run in the different operating systems also.
That's fine. So means where actually I will mention this particular.
So in the Docker file, first line you have to mention from that image. You have to mention that base image from. Give that CentOS 07 means CentOS operating system 7 version. It will take that base image from that Docker hub. So we are using our own Docker trusted registry. So from there it will download that one. On top of that one, whatever that remaining keywords that it will execute. So run keyword I have used, run command, that Docker run keyword I have used for executing that Docker, for creating the Docker image formation. Like that many I have used that one. So first you have to use the from keyword. With the help of that from keyword, we will take that base image. On top of that one, we can create that Docker image.
Okay. So what is the difference actually between a Docker repository and a Docker registry?
So Docker registry is used for storing. So that whatever the hub that Docker is, the Docker hub. So that is the public one. Okay. So and Docker registry is for we are storing images, Docker images.
That is repository or registry?
That is a registry.
Okay, and what is the repository?
So in that registry, so we are maintaining all the whatever that available images.
Okay.
So see, this mainly that the Docker trusted registry we are maintaining. My own company is maintaining. There we are maintaining all our images, our own images. In the Docker Hub, we are already some predefined existing images are there. Suppose I am using the CentOS. That is the official CentOS image. So from there I will get it.
Okay. So you are aware of the tagging, right? Docker image tagging.
Yes. Suppose if you want to, suppose I have developed one image. It is in my local machine. Okay. So I want to push that one into some Docker Hub. So my company have its own Docker Hub. So first what I have to do, first I have to find that particular image ID. Okay. And first I want to create one repository in that Docker Hub. Okay. So that repository, Docker repository. So there I will create repository and I will take that one and using Docker tag and that repository name I will give. So that that particular image I am mapping with that particular repository. So that it will once if you execute Docker push that repository name automatically whatever that image it will from your Docker local engine to it will push to that Docker hub.
Okay, fine. So what are the different states a Docker container can be in?
Sorry?
What are the different states a Docker container can be in?
So it will be in the excited. Excited means it is a stopped one or it is running.
Okay. So only two states, running or exited, right?
See, if it is excited means, so it will be like stopped. So if it is running means it is a running state, and while creating, you can it will be creating state. So if you run image Docker run that image name, so automatically what it will do, Docker daemon will create the container that is a created state. So once it is created, okay, so it will be the creating.
So 1 minute. So when I will run the command Docker run, so that time the state will be created.
Yes. So automatically Docker image will create. Docker container will create.
Not image, container.
Container will create. Yes, container will create.
Okay. So this is created
and
state.
it will go to the running state again. Okay, then it will be sometimes if you want to stop, Docker stop, the container ID can give, automatically it will come. Again, if you use the Docker start and container ID, automatically it will start that container. So it will go to the again running.
So say for example, I'm not sure you have experienced it or not. Like there is a post command also, means post state also. Like you can
post state also is there. So that time all your processes, whatever running process in that particular Docker container, it will be paused in that one.
Correct. So say for example, I want to remove a post Docker container. Okay. Is it possible? How I can actually?
So you are mentioning the whatever the container which is the state of the paused container, you want to delete it.
I want to remove it.
Yes, we can go ahead and just Docker rm -f, okay, and you can use that container ID or container name. Automatically, it will delete from your Docker engine.
Even though it is in post state.
Yes, even it is in any state also, you can delete that one.
Okay.
But you have to use the -f. Forcefully, you have to delete that one.
Okay. Forcefully, you're saying.
Yes, forcefully.
Okay. But what is the recommended state actually? If I don't want
recommended state, first you have to stop. You have to stop, and you have to delete that one.
Okay, fine. So you have any experience in Docker Swarm?
Yeah, Docker Swarm I have experience on that one because I have created that Docker Compose with the help of the Docker Compose file. I have created multiple instances of same application I have deployed because providing the high availability.
So what are the different types of nodes a Docker Swarm will have?
Sorry, Docker?
Different type of nodes in a Docker Swarm.
So mainly I have used that just Docker Compose file I have used. In that Docker Compose file I have mentioned uh, whatever that services available. So just
No,
I have mentioned all these things.
no. I want to know. I want to know the different type of nodes in a Docker Swarm. Docker Swarm is collection of multiple nodes,
Yes,
right?
multiple nodes, multiple
Yeah.
nodes. Yes.
Yeah.
Just if you
So I
want
want
to
to know. Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
want
Tell
to
me.
display that one, just Docker node ls if you type, it will display how many nodes are there.
Correct.
So
So what are
there,
the different types of node?
okay, master and slave nodes are there.
Master and
Uh, no, slave has nothing but node.
okay. Okay. So currently
That
in your
manager,
Docker.
actually manager node are running node.
So currently in your Docker Swarm, how many manager nodes are there, and how
Only
many
one manager node and remaining all are running nodes.
how many worker node?
Worker nodes, so 3 nodes.
3 nodes. Okay. Now, say for example, one service which is in execution. If I want to, if I remove it from manager, then what will happen across the cluster or swarm?
So it will try to actually whatever the first will mention right. So in the, while creating that Docker Swarm, will mention how many worker nodes and how many manager nodes. So and we'll create that network also. So here overlay network will create and it will one another each other. It will pinging each other. If any one thing goes wrong, immediately it will try to get that backup that one. So using that auto scale, you can fetch one. Suppose you have created 5 worker nodes, and your traffic is more on that one, and automatically then you can execute one command. Automatically that auto scale is equal to 6 or 7. Automatically it will increase 2 more nodes.
So 2 more nodes.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. So say for example, in my current cluster, okay, I want to add a new worker node. So how I can actually using that auto scale I can?
Auto scale you can achieve that one.
Okay, that's the only way to add a new worker node in my Docker Swarm.
Yes.
Okay, fine. And any monitoring Docker Swarm monitoring tool you have?
Docker monitoring. I'm not sure, but I have used that just a Docker top command for the container. I have used it for monitoring that container, how many this one process are running and how many the top command also used. But for other external, I have used that New Relic as a monitoring tool. I have used it.
So for example, a node is down in your current cluster. So currently there is only manual intervention, right? There is no intelligence or alert mechanism in place.
No, actually, see, if you create that Docker Swarm, so first of all, it will that manager and worker nodes will establish the connection, right? So manager node is keep on monitoring, and it will, if anything something goes wrong, it will automatically get that another instance.
So yeah, just clear this thing. So manager will give you an alert here or what?
Yeah, manager node automatically it will know.
It will automatically
knows that one. See, because while creating that worker nodes and we are
no. Just a minute. Manager knows that's a different thing, okay? And having the alert mechanism so that I can go and take the necessary action, that is different now. So
one monitoring I didn't configure that one.
Okay, fine. So say for example, in my current system, how many Docker container is in running? How I can check that? What is the command?
So for that one, if you execute Docker PS, it will give that all the running containers. It will give. But if you want to know all the containers, maybe it's like or stopped containers, you can use the Docker ps-a or Docker ps-all. That using option you can find it even stopped containers as well as.
Okay. And if I want to, say for example, for a running Docker container, I want to execute an interactive bash shell,
Okay.
then what is the command?
So for that one, Docker run -i, okay, in the interactive mode, and -t terminal, give that image name.
Docker run is for if I want to run a container from image.
Okay. So for container, you are asking container. So first you can that container should be in the starting. It should be running. So if it is not running, just you can start that Docker start that container ID or container name. Then Docker exe and that container ID and give /bin/bash.
Okay, fine.
So without suppose if you, that is without connecting to that one. Suppose if you want to attach Docker and you can go inside that one, there whatever you want you can execute in that Docker container.
Yeah, you are aware of Docker APIs, like how I can actually means. I'm not actually considering the CLI here. So any CLI thing, if I want to execute using any API, that is also possible in Docker. So you ever implemented anything?
Docker API.
Yeah.
Through CLI.
Yeah, means any CLI thing I can actually implement or execute via Docker API. So for example, I want to delete a service, I can do it using CLI. Or even actually I can execute the same using Docker API. So
Docker API, Docker API I didn't have, maybe it is there, I didn't get a chance to work on that one. Maybe definitely if it is there, definitely I will go through. I'm not aware of that Docker API, how, so that is API, how we can delete the service, I don't know.
Okay. No, that's fine, not an issue. Like, say for example, means you are only creating the Docker files, right?
Yes, correct.
So tell me, like, if you ever experienced like there is a big change in the dependency, like we manage all the dependencies in the Docker file, right? So say for example there is a change in the dependency. Then what will be your approach?
So what type of dependency? I'm not getting here. Can you explain?
Dependency, say for example, I have an application, okay, and that application actually using MySQL database, and now for my next release, I have seen some problem in MySQL, and I have decided to move to Oracle. So definitely there is a dependency change. So when I will deploy my next build in the QA environment as a Docker, what will be my approach? Should I change the Docker file or should I go to the QA server and install the dependency?
No. First what you have to do, you have to change the Docker file and you have to verify in the Docker first dev environment. First you have to everything whatever you are doing the changes in the Docker file or whatever the shell script, whatever it may be. First you have to execute in the dev environment. Then it is working fine. Then we will move to that QA environment. Once it is working in the QA environment, then we will move to the production environment. Like that I am following.
Okay. So apart from Docker, so we are interested in any scripting skills. So you have any experience?
Yeah, I'm very good in this shell scripting, and I have knowledge in just Python, but I didn't get a chance to work on Python because whatever we are going to achieve through this Python, we are achieving the shell script. So I didn't get a chance to requirement or working on that Python. If you have requirement, definitely I will implement Python as well as.
Okay. So you told you have knowledge in Python. So what are the things you know in Python?
So just Python is object oriented here also, that all the data types, so all the this one collections it is there. So yeah.
So you worked on any Python script?
No, I didn't work on. That's what I didn't get a chance to work on that one. So I have knowledge on Java also. So definitely I can. If you know the Java, it is very easy. That Python also object oriented programming. Definitely I can. If you give 1 week time, definitely I will explore and I will implement whatever I can achieve through shell scripting.
Okay. So, you know, like what are the data types that is Python is going to support?
Python data types actually, so it will be string, it is there. So I have tuples, it is there. Okay, so mainly I have gone through that one. But like if you know that Java, I'm very good in Java, so that's why I'm very good in that. So like same int float, all these things also is there. So
Okay, okay, okay.
Boolean
If I
main.
say a Python script, can you read that what it exactly it is written
Definitely, definitely. If you
understand
give that
what?
one, I will explain you whatever that Python script.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, okay. So you have good experience in shell scripting also, right?
Yes, yes, I am good in experience in shell scripting. Yes.
Okay, okay. So normally, what all shell scripts you have executed means for what all purpose? Any automation
So
purpose?
yeah, for deployment automation purpose. So one of the application we are deploying in the IBM cloud. So for that one, deploy.sh, I have written one shell script. So what I have written there, so using some Cloud Foundry command tools, that Cloud Foundry commands. So I have connecting to that IBM cloud, and I have deploying, and here I have used many command line arguments. And also I have used here. Question mark, dollar question mark. So we are using here if condition before executing that if condition, what we are checking. So previous command execution is successful, then only we are going to deploy this one. So like that, I have used multiple command line arguments, symbols, everything, and all. So and we are executing. We are expecting minimum 5 inputs for that one. Execute deploy that sh. So here I have used the if dollar hash symbol equals 5, then only we are allowing him to execute that one. Otherwise, in the else condition, we are displaying that echo minimum. We have to pass 5 arguments to this one. Like that, we are giving the user message to the user. And also, I have written one data backup.sh for taking all the backups. So, worked with that VBA guy. So, I have
Hmm.
created one template. So, just we have to pass 2 arguments for that one database name and DB backup location. So, that is a generic data backup.sh script file. You have to pass the DB name. So, and backup location automatically, whatever the DB name we have passed, it will automatically take that one backup.
Okay, okay. So I mean there are different types of shells available, right?
Yes, sir. So bash shell is there, shell sh is there, tsh,
Hmm.
zsh, ksh. These are the shell types. If you want to find where it is available, all the shell types will be available in the shells is the one file. It is available in the etc directory. Just if you type cat / etc / shells, it will display how many shells are supported by that particular Linux operating system.
Correct. And what are the advantage of C shell over say for example bash? You say.
So actually, Bash is the all the features it is containing aliases, everything compared to the any of the shells. Bash having
Hmm.
all the features. Bash is the
Like
default shell
like
type for all the Linux operating.
okay. Mention few of those features.
So like aliases, it will support. I didn't remember, but Bash shell supports all the features compared to all the shell types.
Okay, okay, okay. Fine. So yeah, means that's fine. Means it's good to have shell.
By default, is the Bash shell in the Linux.
Yeah.
In the AX operating system, KSS is the default shell.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So, yeah, means we are pretty much done here. You have any question for us?
So I have just one question. First of all, thank you
Sure.
for your time. And what kind of profile you are looking? See, I'm a core Devops engineer, and this
Mm.
Docker everything, and mainly we have discussed mainly on the Docker and only
Mm.
the shell script, the scripting languages. Apart from this one, what kind of profile you are looking? If I selected to your company, what kind of role I can get it?
See, currently, okay, for the project we are hiring, we are more into Docker.
Okay.
This is more into Docker and Docker Swarm, Docker cluster management.
Okay.
We are in the process of actually introducing the monitoring alert mechanism. Okay, because it's a huge cluster now.
Okay.
And several services are running every time. So that is primarily what we are looking for as a DevOps engineer. And also Python basics is a plus here. Means
definitely. See, because I didn't get a chance to work on Python, that's why I didn't explore that one. I have knowledge on that Python as well.
Because most of the shell script or Docker CLI, whatever I have asked, most of the stuffs we have actually automated. Using Python sub process, we are executing all those things. So, but saying that, we are also in the process of procuring few of the tools which you have mentioned, like Jenkins, Ansible, all those stuff. We are using these tools in few of our projects.
If you don't without continuous integration, we are not able to do that deployment automation, right? Just without Docker, we are not able to achieve that.
Exactly.
You have to do manually if you don't have that continuous integration tool.
Exactly. So that's also in the roadmap. Introducing this Jenkins, Ansible stuff. And so you will get an opportunity in these tools also in the future. But currently it's more of Docker and Python.
Okay, sure, no problem. Those are I'm already familiar with them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for this.
Good. So thanks for your time, and our HR will get back to you.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So may I know your name? I forgot.
How will you check the IP address of a Docker?
Docker, that container ID. Docker inspect that container ID you can give. Automatically it will give all the everything IP addresses it will give.
Tell me about Docker Compose file.
Docker Compose. So usually the Docker -compose.yml file in the YAML format we will use for that one writing. So there you can mention what is the services, how many instances of that container as a service. Everything you can mention. What is the image you have to download from the Docker registry, Docker trusted registry, DTF. So everything will mention and we will run that Docker Compose automatically it will create. So there you can mention once suppose if any instance is down, immediately you have to restart. So like that we will write everything in the Docker Compose file.
Have you deployed any applications using containers?
Yeah, I have deployed. See, for my one of the project, so 6 QA persons are there. So they have developed that application and they need to run that one, the Selenium test cases, automation testers. So that one I have deployed in that container.
Do you know Selenium?
Sorry?
Do you know Selenium?
I know that basics, but I didn't get a chance to work on this one because dedicated automation testing engineers are there. So I know that Java basics and Selenium, how to run the Selenium. So they're using the Cucumber basics feature for running the Selenium scripts.
Do you know Export? What is Export?
So Export is just basically for finding that element. Suppose once you will open, so you have provided the username, password, you want to click on that login. So if you want to click on that login, first you have to find that login button export so that it is able to find. So using the export, maybe it will be like a class ID or that element ID, you can take that one.
Okay, fine. So in Docker, so if I exit from a container, will the data exist or will the data will be lost?
It will be data will be lost. You have to suppose you have connected to the container and you did install some software and all. So if you exit, if you stop that container, automatically you will lose everything. You have to commit that one, whatever the work you have. Using Docker commit. Docker commit that you have to give the container ID.
So why volumes are used then?
So if you want to store any data, so that's why we'll use the volumes. So in the container, suppose you deployed one application, suppose web application, suppose you are uploading some images. So if you want to store that images, we'll use that volumes.
Okay. Can you tell me what is Swan cluster? What is Swan?
Swarm is used for just for creating the clustering. Suppose if the container, with help of container, just only can deploy one application. Suppose if you deploy one application, if you don't provide the clustering for your application is providing the high availability. If you want high availability is nothing like zero downtime, 0% downtime. So if it is in the very critical applications like e-commerce applications, you have to provide a high availability, zero downtime. If you want to provide a high availability, definitely you have to implement the clustering, whether whatever it may be the clustering. So for clustering purpose, we'll use the SWAM. So in the clustering, we'll deploy same application in multiple instances, so that if any instance goes, also other instances will serve the service to the clients who are using that application. Suppose customers are using, suppose take one application, e-commerce portal application like Amazon. So if you deploy same an application in one container, if the container is down, nobody able to access that. Suppose if you deploy in a clustering, even one instance is down also, other instances will up and running, and it will help you providing the high availability of your application.
How will you monitor a Docker? If
how will
everything
you
is running, monitoring.
Just if you want to check that that Docker container process under, just you can type Docker container, that container ID, and you can use the one command called as stop command. So you can monitor all the processes which are running, and all the utilization you can check in that container.
So if I want, if I have a situation like I want to copy something from the container to
so that time you can use one Docker keyword is there, copy, COPY, copy with capital letters. Copy, give that whatever the target file, and give that part of container path where you have to store that one. Using copy, we can copy that one into the container. So in the Docker file, you have to write that keyword, Docker keyword.
Okay. Tell me about do you have experience in Python?
Python I didn't get a chance to work on, but I have knowledge. I have worked on the shell scripting. So if it is requirement, definitely I have knowledge on the Java. So if you know the Java, that is also object-oriented programming, just all the basics, classes into it. But I didn't get a chance to work on, and I didn't look on that. If it is requirement, definitely give me 1 week. I will explore, and definitely I will implement.
How will you read a file in shell?
So if you want to read a file, we'll use the read command just for whatever you are giving the command. Suppose read, and you can declare one file, file name, whatever. Automatically, whatever you are entering in that command line, the read command, it will read, and it will store it, assign that value to that variable. So that if you want to access, suppose if you want to display that variable value, just echo $, that variable name, automatically that variable value it will use.
Suppose what will be the output of $2?
Suppose if you in the Linux commands, if you execute any command or this one shell script, automatically it will create a one process. If you want to know that process ID of that shell script, will use the $. $. Will give the process ID.
What will give like $question mark?
$question mark. Suppose it will give the previous command execution status. So I used it in my shell script also. Based on that, so I have used it in the conditional statement. So $question mark is equals 0. Then only so $question mark is the execution status. It is successful. It will give the 0. So if it is command not found, it will give the 127 as the standard error code. Based on that, I am following I am executing other commands. So I use it in the if condition. This $question mark.
How will you check if a file is empty, not empty, if it has content or not?
So if you execute ls-l command, it will show all the description, like suppose size, who is the owner of that one, okay, who is the group of related to, how many links are created, file size, everything it will mean. So if it is 0, that it will show the file is empty.
Okay. Suppose in script you want to check, right?
Okay.
How will you check that way?
Okay, so using find command also you can check it. Find, okay, -name, that is
Okay.
and give the file name, empty. It will display all the empty files. If you want to display empty directories, find -type D, you have to pass D means directories -empty. It will display all the empty directories. Using find command you can find empty files or empty directories as well as.
Do you know about signals, trap?
Yes, signals. So in the kill command you are saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is a trap command? What is trap command?
Can you explain me that symbol? Means that spell it command.
TRAP.
Trap command. No, I'm not aware of the trap command, but I know this kill command. So in the kill, almost 64 signals are there, but I'm using mainly the -9 for killing any process. Suppose I'm trying to stop one service using service command, the service name stop, but it is not stopping. So what I will do, I will take that process ID, PS-AF grep, whatever the Java process, whatever the term code. So it will give the process ID, and using kill command, kill -9, the signal, 9 means the signal is killing. So, and I will process the process ID so that it will forcefully kill that process. Like that.
How will you read an array input?
Okay, so I have used this array in that along with the read command. So read -a and give that array name. So -a means array. So suppose please enter some these Devops tools. Some example is there. So dynamically user will type how many values we don't know, right? That time we can use the read -a that array name. So automatically whatever the developer that user will enter all the tools, it will put it into that array. So that if you want to access that echo $symbol, put in the flower brackets that array name, and in the array starts with the index 0. So if you want to the first value, you can give that 0. So like that you can access that array values. But array index starts from 0, but size starts from 1.
How will you count the number of lines in a file?
So number of lines in a file. So using one, we know one command WC, word count. WC by default it will give number of lines, number of words, number of characters. So if you want the lines, just you have to pass one option called as a WC-L, and the file name you can give. Automatically it will display number of lines in that file.
Suppose in a text file you have entries with duplicates. I want to find only duplicates. How will you find?
Only duplicates. Okay. So, but using sort command -n, you will display. Suppose use sort command, it will display all these things. So if you want to remove duplicates and using sort, just sort -n, that text file name it will remove the duplicates and it will display in the sort order.
Okay. I have a file with single space separated columns.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it tab space or a comma separated values or columns. How will you do that?
So using AWK, we can find that one. By default, AWK, it will such as the pattern spaces. So if you give in as a delimiter as something else, so that time you can use AWK -f, that delimiter you have to use.
How about this logs? Suppose if I want to delete some 30 days data, how will you delete?
So using find command, you can find that file or anything directory. Different conditions you can pass. Last 1 day or last 30 days, you have to mention that from date and this date. And -delete, you can automatically, it will delete all the files which are from that particular date range, whatever you have given. Suppose you want to delete all the files which are having 1 GB. Like that, based on the condition, using find command, you can find and you can delete also.
Have you taken backup of any work that you have taken? How will you take it?
So actually, I have created a one shell script called as dbbackup.sh. So what it will do, we have I have created a one template, and I have worked with the DBA guy. So DBA guy is added all the DB commands along with the my shell script file. So we have configured this clan tab. Every day night 12 o'clock every day it is taking the backup. So and it is putting that one location. Like that we are taking the backup.
Okay. Debugging, how will you do debugging in shell scripting?
Shell scripting debugging. So we can do in two ways. Like while running itself, entire shell script if you want to run in the debug mode, sh-x and give that a shell script file name. So that time it will run all the lines in the shell script. That file it will run in the shell script the debug mode. Suppose I know in some particular lines I want to run in the debug mode. Set so what are the lines you want to debug? So from before that line you can add one line, one command called set-x, and after so which lines you want to close? So set plus x. So whatever in between set-x and set plus x, those lines will run in the debug mode. Like this,
Okay.
I have run in the debug mode and I fixed the issues.
Yeah, fine. So how will you rate yourself in Ansible 1 to 5?
Ansible, I can give 3.
Okay. Tell me the difference between shell and command module.
Shell and command module. So, shell is like one intermediate between the client and that operating system, kernel. So, whatever you are executing in the command line, those commands it will take by the shell and it will give it to that operating system so that it will execute that one. So, in the command prompt, so it is in the Windows machine, DOS operating system. All the commands, whatever it is running in the shell, it will not in the DOS command prompt.
Okay. So, do you know host key checking? What is host key checking?
Host name I know. Host key means it will be available in the etc directory /host is the one file is there. So just
okay.
In the Ansible you are saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Ansible.
So in the Ansible /etc/Ansible /host is the one default file name. Once you install that Ansible software, that file will be there. There all the suppose Ansible server it has to connect to 50 instances, 50 host servers. So all the 50 servers IP addresses will mention in that default inventory file. So we used to call it inventory file because it maintains all the host inventories. That's why we used to call it host inventory. That is the default for this /etc/Ansible host is the file name. So there will mention all the IP addresses of that particular how many host machines are going to connect by this Ansible server. So Ansible is a agentless mechanism. Agentless mechanism it will work. So mainly it uses the SSH connection type. So suppose from Ansible server to if you want to connect to that 50 host machines, first you have to generate one SSH key in the Ansible server. You have to copy into that all the Ansible servers, what that host machines.
Okay. So I'm asking about what is host key checking?
Host key checking, I'm not getting. Maybe can you ask me in depth, can you explain me what scenario that host key I'm not getting?
I'm saying when you are connecting.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So you are asking that that playbook you are asking host is the one key in that you are saying?
No. When I'm trying to connect to a new host,
okay,
it will prompt me, right? Are you sure you want to connect to this new host?
Yes.
So to avoid that, yeah.
Okay, so for that one you have to before connecting to that one, take the IP and you can put it into the known _host is the one file which is available in the .ssh user home .ssh directory. There you can add automatically, it will not ask this one.
Okay. So what all modules you have used in your project?
Ansible modules?
Yes, Ansible modules.
Ping module, okay, and some shell modules. So mainly those modules I have worked with.
Only those modules?
Yeah.
So do you know, suppose if I want to make a changes in particular file in a particular line.
Okay.
So if I match a particular regular expression pattern in that line, I have to replace the entire line with the new content, new line.
Okay.
So how can I do that in Ansible?
For that one, you have to write a one shell script, Ansible playbook. So in that playbook, you can mention using SCD command. So whatever you want to, so SCD, so whatever that regular expression, so I want to replace with suppose something Devops with Java. So whatever wherever the Java is there, Devops is there, I want to replace with something Java development, something like that. So use that one. So that same playbook you can execute. So in the playbook we'll mention in which host machine it has to connect, and so I have while creating that inventory playbook, so I mentioned that I have divided the groups, app servers like that. So I need to mention that in the playbook host that group name. So automatically if I run that playbook in wherever the machines it will connect, and there all the files it will replace whatever that thing.
Have you worked on roles?
Roles? No, I didn't work that mainly. Just mainly I used it for deployment. This one as well as urban code deployment, both tools.
You know about Ansible Galaxy?
Ansible Galaxy also I didn't work that.
Okay, fine. So you have used Git or SVN?
I have used the Git as a version control system, and GitLab also.
GitLab as well. Okay. So can you explain me about what is how the flow right from the working directory to the remote?
Okay.
How would you commit some code? How would you revert if something goes wrong?
Okay. So first you have to create one empty repository in your local machine. For that one we'll use the git init. Git init, it will create one empty Git repository in your local machine. So after that you will create some files using some touch or VIM. So once we create any file, it will be in the working directory or workspace we can call. So if you want to move from working area to the staging area, we'll use one command called as git add. So git add, and you can give dot. So automatically whatever in the current directory, it will move, working directory, it will move to the staging area. So once it is moved to the staging area, I want to commit so that it will go to the local repository. For that one, I have used that git commit -m, and I have given the message. Suppose first time I am committing means, so I will give the initial commit. After updating, suppose next time I will give some proper commit message. So I have used the git commit, and after that I have executed that one. Automatically it will commit into my local repository. So from my local repository to I want to move to that, push to the remote repository. First I need to create one repository on the remote server. So to log in into the remote server, just create one repository. After that, take that repository, add that map that remote repository one with your local repository using git remote add, and give the alias name for that particular URL. So give that alias name. You can give any name for that alias, and give that remote repository URL, so that you will map that remote repository URL with that your local repository. So after that, you want to check whether it is mapped or not. For that one, git space remote -b. So automatically it will shows how many remote repositories you mapped with your local repository. Once you map it successfully, you have to push that code. For that one, we'll use the git push is the command. Git push that alias name, whatever you have given. Suppose you given the origin as alias name for that remote repository. Git push origin, and you have to give the branch name. So automatically once we create any repository, it will create one branch called as a master branch. So git push. Okay.
Fine, Srinivas.
Okay, thank you.
So I think you are already serving notice period, right?
Yes, I am serving notice period. But
I think you might be having any other offer, right?
No, right now I don't have any offer. Actually, that project is going to over, and we don't get that new project. That's why I'm looking.
How long is your current notice period? Actually,
actually, that is 2 months notice period. Okay. So I mean, next 20 days it will over my notice period.
Okay. So what kind of role are you expecting?
Uh,
Like it?
I can take from end to end from the end to end automation
Okay.
from full DevOps, full stack DevOps engineering.
Okay. So, how will you rate yourself in Jenkins?
Jenkins, out of 5, I can rate 4. I'm very good
Oh,
in Jenkins. I have created all the jobs. This one.
okay. Fine, fine. Fine, Srinivaslu, I think we are done with our interview.
Okay.
HR will let you know the
Okay.
feedback.
I have small question. Thank you for your time, first of all. And I want to know what kind of profile you are looking so that I can estimate my whether I can able suitable for your role.
The profile is of DevOps engineer only. You will
Okay.
have to work from like end-to-end flow only,
Okay.
which you're looking.
Okay.
The profile is as per your expectations.
Okay.
But I believe like you will have further discussions also with the
Sure.
client and
Sure,
other
definitely.
people.
Okay.
There also you can get it clarified.
Okay.
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 I will suggest like to get it very clear like what kind of profile they are offering and
Okay.
what kind of you are looking. But
Okay.
as far as I know, it's for the DevOps engineer admin kind of role,
Okay.
which is exactly what you're looking for. It will be for like end-to-end flow.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And may I know the client? Is it?
Exactly, I'm not sure of that.
Okay.
I'm sure
Okay.
HR can tell you that.
No
HR
problem.
will get connected. Yeah, HR will actually let you know about the
Okay.
feedback, and you can ask about the client name and all from the HR, right?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Regarding your interview today.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so is it the right time?
Yes, yes. You can go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, so we can start